2, 1. And here we go. 1 year later, we are back with the same guests about a year ago. This is the sequel to our most viewed video on our channel, The Reality of Relationships so far. And we have Joe with us.
What's going on, guys?
And we got Pete with us.
What's going on, guys?
We're going to go over the how dating has changed in 2021, the reality of dating in 2021. So there's a lot to go over, so we're going to jump into it. Basically, this year, 2020, basically right now, as of right now, it's January 11th. And as 2020 has taught the world many things. And in this part of the realm of teaching things, it has taught us a lot about dating. So dating marketplace and like intersexual dynamics between men and women, what's going on, what has changed, how has relationships evolved in the past year alone with technology, with the new way of doing things, how politics have gotten into it as well. All that kind of stuff starts now. So basically, it has changed, right?
Very much so, actually. Very, very much so. I think more has changed in the last 365 days than it probably has in the last 15 years. Yeah. Even with the internet, even with the ever-growing aspects of the internet, in the matter of 15 years of us adapting to the internet, we've completely doubled that in amount of a year, maybe a little bit more than that. And I think that's a little bit alarming. Also very, very jarring as well to especially for guys like us where we're so used to, doing things very simply, if you got it, through a text or through an Instagram message, but then, or even a cold approach, approaching someone at a bar or something. But now everything just seems dialed to 15. You can't even dial shit to 15 anymore. But the thing is that with especially we're guys, so we don't have the same we can't see the same things as what women see, but what we see, what the women do is very different. It's very drastic because now a lot of them, because of Corona, they a lot of them lost their jobs, so they need to get extra money. So what do? They use their sexuality on the internet to get money.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the one thing that has changed the world, the very one thing, is Corona. That's one of the biggest game changers of the year. Why is that? Because we've never had a society where we've had this new technology, this new data, these new statistics, and then you combine that with the fact of a virus that makes you stay inside, right? If you're in an unhappy marriage, you have to stay with your significant other trapped in this house. At least if you're if you really are taking it seriously, at least, which some people are, some people are not. That's up for debate, but that's not part of it. Basically, if you're in your house and you are required by the government to sort of social distance from everybody, your friends, your family, no gatherings of any kind, the bars are closed, the gyms are closed, everything's closed, and you have to remain with the people that you're closest to, which may be your significant other, or you might be a single person during this year, and you're like, wait, so I can't go meet chicks at the bar now? Wait, these girls are being extremely skeptical of meeting online, meeting in person from online because they might get a virus. So that alone creates a lot of tension and a lot of different scenarios.
Well, like you said, with this whole COVID thing that is dialed by 15, like you said, I think it has to do, everything is fear. You know, you keep hearing the news, you keep hearing everywhere you go, you have to socially distance. It's very pushed in. So it's not only a relationship with with the woman, it's also with the friends, with the family. You can't even bring anybody to the house on holidays. So everything is just changing very fast.
Pete, would you say that relationships have sort of taken a wild turn in the past year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say COVID-19 has changed the world dramatically, and I think these are going to be lasting impacts we're going to have long after we, have vaccines rolled out and maybe all but cure ourselves of this. We're going to see that kind of proliferate through levels of society, including relationships. And relationships, I think Joe makes a point of, it's not just about a sexual or man or woman relationships or however you're in a relationship there. It's friends, it's family. It's important that people don't lose touch of themselves when they're inside or when they're social distancing, and you have to stay connected. And I think I've seen a lot of people struggle in 2020 and last year, really just texting someone, reaching out, calling someone. Right. And those little moments there can do wonders for any relationship you're in whatsoever, even if it's just a friendship. And I think people have forgotten that as maybe fear has set in or whatever it is going on, or just daily life that they've become busy. But it's important to focus on that.
I mean, now, to be honest, if you go meet with somebody, the first thing you check is like if you have your mask on.
I know.
Do you hug them? Are they cool with it? Like, there's so much
Is
confusion.
it a fist bump or a handshake?
Tension, you know, it's just.
Yeah.
Am I not being responsible for not following the rules?
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of confusion, fear.
It's different because this year, like, this is like the first year, like, I've gotten a lot more confident this year. So I'm out here, like, cold approaching as well. Like, so I'll go
hustling.
So yeah, well, yeah, I'm out here in the field, right? So let's say I specifically do not attempt to like approach a girl with a mask on or something because it's sort of more of it's for protection, right? It means something. Like if a girl is walking at a park or something and they have their mask fully on, even though they're alone or something, I'm a little more hesitant to go say hi or something because it shows that it's sort of setting a signal. Like I kind of don't want to be, I'm trying to be very cautious. And like if you actually do go say hi, you're probably not going to want to go shake their hand. Hey, what's your name? My name's, you're probably not going to want to do that because like, compared to someone who doesn't have a mask might be more receptive. And I know this because I've done it. Like someone with a mask would be a little more hesitant to actually like get closer to you compared to someone without one. And so you have to be able to sort of look at body language. And if you're not good at looking at body language, you might not understand that. Like you might just go for like oh, hey, what's your name? The girl's going to be like, and they're going to be like, oh, what's up? They're going to try to like do something with the elbow. So it's important to understand little things like that, especially at a time like this, because some people just don't want to be bothered. So if you actually have the confidence to go cold approach, so you need to be able to look at those things and decide whether you want to actually, does that person might want to be bothered, or do you just not really care and you just want to go for it anyway? That's really up to you. But it's important to note those things.
And now, like you said, it's difficult to adapt to this too because they're wearing a mask. So with body language, now you're missing half a face. You don't really know the expressions. What she might be smiling, you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could technically use it to your advantage. Like you can go up to her and say, "Hey, that mask looks cute on you." You could play it in your way. You could do something with that. So it's not like to say, "Oh, well, just don't approach because she has a mask on and she doesn't want." It's not like that. It's a decision you have to make for yourself. Do you want to risk it, or do you just want to go for it anyway? Because you can maneuver you can say something slick and clever to sort of initiate a conversation anyway and keep it friendly and clean. Even though you can't see your entire face expression, you can still try to maneuver something. But that's a decision that's for the person, indeed.
Yeah, you have to adapt and also be willing to take that risk because now, not that they're going to come at you, call the cops,
you can incite an incident.
You can get yelled at or judged by like, oh, what are you doing or whatever. But if you really are okay with like taking the risk for it, then that's fine. But if back then cold approaching somebody was dangerous when they can be like, oh, stranger danger, like, or rapist, now you have a mask on, it's like, oh, get away, you may have the virus. Now they just don't know.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to like, all right, whatever, you can't be like, oh no,
At least for the time being, you have to sort of, it's hard. Some people are having a very hard time adapting and they just don't like to even deal with that. And so what we're seeing is actually the biggest change I've sort of seen is like the rise of Onlyfans, I think. Because it's weird because I didn't think that something like that would work. Because it's not so much of the girl taking the action to make one or sell her nudes. It's the fact of all these guys that are buying it. So you cannot blame one or the other because you could say, oh, well, girls are all whores because they're making these OnlyFans. But it's working. That's the thing. It actually works. Well, Bella Thorne, a former Disney star. You could put a card in the thing, basically. But she basically made OnlyFans like 24 hours. She had like, what was it?
Yeah, but the thing with her is she really ruined it for a lot of sex workers out there. Because like if you don't know, like Bella Thorne basically came on, she promised and basically said that she was going to have illicit like, nude photos on there and then didn't. And so then you had all people subscribe to a certain level, and then they weren't getting what they thought they were paid for, those not safe for work kind of pictures. And so then OnlyFans had to give back, the creators of that had to give back a ton of refunds, and they kind of changed the entire dynamics of the site itself. And so now rules where you were getting paid every week, you're now getting paid once a month. You're still getting all that money, but you can't actually take it out and withdraw it only once a month. And so everyone that was legitimately doing work there, was being a sex worker, was promising what they said, they kind of got screwed by her. So she's kind of I don't know, I'm not really a fan of her.
So somebody was gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think a lot of guys will secretly have that, like, oh, I wonder what that Disney star that I had a crush on with a kid. I wonder what she would look like, and then they're gonna buy into the OnlyFans. Like, what I think she had like a what was it, a month, maybe like 25 or something. 'Cause some chicks be charging like hella money. I was like, yo, come on, bro.
But people buy it though.
Yeah.
But
You
exactly,
gotta
that's
go.
my
And
point.
it's it's the thing with COVID, because you're stuck inside now, right?
Right.
If you let's say you're getting bored of your significant other, if you have one. If you don't have one, you're alone and you're a simp.
Or just being single.
yeah. And if you don't have anybody and you're tired of just jerking off nothing or jerking off to free porn, and you want to buy into something, it was the perfect cataclysm. These women losing their jobs, these guys being bored, wanting to find something. And it just worked so perfectly. It just happened so perfectly, and it boomed. And a lot of these sex workers, like you were saying, they lost their jobs because these stripping, the stripping clubs and all this shit pretty much were closed. They had nothing. They couldn't really do that. That literally was their work. So they just was like, oh, I can actually do this and use this because it's pretty much the same work. And so they used that to their advantage because they were pretty much doing the same thing, but on a website instead of having to, dance around a pole and shit. And so I feel like COVID plus OnlyFans was like, if they were a public, I don't know is OnlyFans public?
I don't know if it's a public site.
Because if it was public, like on the stock market,
I don't believe
should have
it
bought
is.
into it. Fuck, should have definitely bought into that shit.
I don't think it's that surprising. Like, I honestly wasn't surprised at like the rise of that because
I kind of was.
it just
it has the perfect formula. It has
it's
mystery,
it's a perfect
sex.
formula, right? And yes, you could attribute COVID and people losing their jobs and staying inside to the rise of it, right? That certainly helped, I would say.
Yeah, but
in
in a micro level, think
Right.
about a dude who had a crush on
Right.
some girl in high school, and she happens to have an OnlyFans. He most likely
It's a
will
perfect
pay for
outlet.
it.
Yeah.
So people are doing those, connections.
But as you said yourself, sex sells. Sex always sells.
No matter
no
what,
matter
yeah.
what,
We all
what
want
time
it.
of the
Yeah.
year,
Right.
what's going on, sex is always going to
and
sell.
now you add that with mystery of the,
Yeah.
you wondering how this person looks like or whatever they're gonna do,
Yeah.
and then that's gonna sell
But
even more.
We've seen this before, right? People get porn subscriptions that are premium, right? You get access to private videos.
Exactly.
But this is more on a personal level.
Premium,
Yeah.
premium
Micro, yeah.
Snapchat.
Yeah.
You remember premium Snapchat?
Yeah.
It's still going on,
that's
right?
a thing,
The
right?
original
And so, like,
OnlyFans.
all of those things were popular in some corners of the internet, in some corners of society. So, if you get a more streamlined platform as OnlyFans, like that's why I'm not shocked that something like this took off.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I sort of like, I kind of think of it as like, you never know who's like, I mean, not that to judge, but like anybody could be secretly subscribing to an OnlyFans. And this is like a kind of a new concept. I mean, we've never had porn in general so widely available to us. This has never happened
Yeah.
in history. You'd have to look at writing. I mean, throughout human history, you'd have to look at writings on a wall to get some sexual, like to look at it. Or
You have to find the magazines.
this is within the last 100 years, but like even before that, like we never.
That's early 2000s.
You go on Instagram, right? You're
Like
scrolling
90s.
through Instagram, and all you see is ass, and that I don't know if our brains are meant to take on that responsibility.
easy.
It's way too easy. Like that's like it's constantly being shoved in our heads,
Right.
and how our minds adapt to it could be up for debate because I think it has a sort of interesting effect, long term at least.
But do you think that because they see it so constantly that they get to like condition about it, calm down, or like you think that every time they see it they just keep like, you know what I mean?
I think there's sort of an addiction that comes with it,
Right, because at one point you'll be like, oh, another ass, like
Because
another
if
ass,
you
like-
It's some addiction, but it's also some initial fascination,
Right.
and I think people can kind of like
keep
and
that right.
they could kind of get bored of it and then just
Yeah.
move on, right?
Yeah.
It's when the new
'Cause
thing
at
comes on
first-
the market, right?
But the thing is that I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say for me, for example, I'm not on Instagram, but if I do, all I see is ass. And for me, that's like, whoa,
That's-
but like that's somebody's every day. But for me, I'm like a kid. I'm like, oh my god, look at this.
Well, yeah.
So.
Well, if you think about it,
just
these guys,
perspectives.
I mean, these guys are literally scrolling through, just liking all these, like,
Right.
you have the Instagram models posting their ass, and like you have all the.
They're
There was
gonna
some.
look at the details,
there
the
was
colors.
I saw some post. It was like the Pope liked one of the.
Yeah,
some girls,
yeah, I did see that, yeah.
And people were coming at him. I was like, come on. Yeah, like that's kind of the level it's reached at, and I think OnlyFans has risen because you could say to yourself, the argument is, why would you subscribe to a girl's OnlyFans when you could just watch free porn? The reasons for that, I think, is because there's an emotional connection that comes with, a girl, let's say you're on Facebook, and a girl, which I've actually seen a lot this year, a girl says, hey guys, I just made OnlyFans, it's $10 a month, check it out. Now, we know that person, hopefully, on your Facebook friends list. You know that person in real life, and you've always been secretly curious, I wonder what she looks like without panties on, right? And then you subscribe to it, and then now you can finally, like that girl you had a crush in high school, and she finally gave you a link. Now you can, all you have to do is pay $10, and now you could finally see your high school crush's nude photos. Is she gonna like you? No, probably not.
I wonder what most people how they feel after they find out at first. Do they get really happy and then a little sad? I wonder if they feel like that.
I feel like that actually depends on the person.
I think they get excited, and then after that, they're just like, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna subscribe to it." And then they start thinking about it a little more. Yeah. But I've always kind of wondered if she is she a B cup or a C cup or a D?
Yeah, I feel like there's two different sides to that. I feel like there's two different people when you think about that. So let's say it's one person, right? And this person that I had a crush on in high school making $10 a month OnlyFans. Okay, so I subscribe. I want to see, right? Once you see, then there's two different people that split off on that. There's the one that's like, okay, I seen I'm done, and unsubscribes, and then there's the one that's like, I want more. I want more. I want this person. I want to be with this person. I want her attention.
And you can comment on those, right?
Yeah, you can.
You could also at certain tiers, depending on the way you set it up. Yeah, but the way you could set it up is you could request certain things, like if you're paying so much per month.
Yeah, you could you could DM them.
And sometimes they do live. They do these live chats.
So you do have that emotion connection. You can literally interact with them.
Yeah. And so there's that side where you want to have an emotional connection to this person, but she's only using this as a job, and so she doesn't actually care about these people other than the fact that they are giving them money.
But the guys don't get that.
And the guys don't. Yeah, and the guys don't
understand that there's no chance.
Because they're getting the attention that their wives are not giving them, or that their girlfriends are not giving them.
They do in the back of their mind, but they just don't understand why they do. It's pretty much just a fantasy and an illusion. And I've seen a lot of posts on Twitter where these people will, these guys with wives, and they're like in their 30s they have they subscribe to these women on OnlyFans, and they're trying to get their attention and stuff, and then after weeks and weeks of not getting the attention, then they deactivate their thing, they cry about it, blah blah blah, do all these really weird things, and then they go and find another person to subscribe to, and they do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, combine that with interesting fetishes that these girls come up with. So feet pictures sell. That's not even a joke. That's true.
No, it's true.
That's been a thing for a while, right?
It's been a thing for a long time.
It's been a thing, yeah.
So, but imagine a girl's taking a picture of her feet, she's putting on her OnlyFans, and guys will buy that just to see the feet.
But I'm sorry, I can't fault any girl for doing that. If I was a girl, I'd be. This is
that's the argument.
It's easy money, and I don't have to show any of myself. I don't even have to show my face or anything.
Yeah.
There's no explicit photo going on. I would 100% do it.
If you were a girl, would you post nudes on your OnlyFans?
I probably would not. I'm just I believe in the sense of not having. I mean, that picture. It's like when they say anything about the internet, right? No matter what corner of the internet it's in, when it's there, it will find its way everywhere, right? And so I'm not personally me. I'm not comfortable with having myself out there, that it could be downloaded somewhere. Someone could have that on their computer for life. Yeah. Some employer or someone later on,
screenshot.
or a new girlfriend or anyone could see that stuff. I don't know. But I can't knock anyone for doing that. I think it's important to say that OnlyFans is not always just nudity, right? So I see a ton of cosplayers that I follow that are on there that don't show any nudity, but they use it as another outlet to show maybe pictures that are a little more scantily, but not nude, but they can't show something like that on Instagram, right? Yeah. And so that in between line that people do as well.
Well, see, that's another argument that people say is that, well, if she makes an OnlyFans and she sells these pictures, eventually she's going to want to get rid of it if she's going to get older, and your digital footprint lasts forever. In the digital age, listen, technology is only going to rise. It's going to get more advanced. Yeah. People are going to find more advanced ways to save your photos. Like if you send a dick pic, it's there forever. I don't care what anyone says. That's a risk. You have to decide whether you're going to take it or not. If you send nudes, either through text message, private, Snapchat, doesn't matter. It's going somewhere. And the more advanced technology becomes, it's not going away. So let's say one day, so you have to be forced in a lockdown. Girl is a waitress, loses her job. She makes an OnlyFans because her friend's doing it too. So why not? So she does that, and she makes some good sales. She puts it on Facebook. She has, let's say she's doing $10 a month. She gets 10 guys, 10 followers a month, $100 a month extra income right there, just as basic. And then 10 months later, COVID's over. Well, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever that means. And the restaurant opens back up. She goes back to work. But those things remain. So the guys who subscribe, they take some screenshots. That thing lasts forever. And eventually, 5 years down the road, this girl gets a college degree maybe, right? She goes to an employer. And the employer, by the way, these corporate jobs, they're looking at your Instagram. They're looking at your social media to make sure that you're not, because now you have a digital footprint on all your social media stuff, which is why you have to be careful what you post. So these job corporations will look at your Instagram and they'll look at your stuff and they'll say, wait a second, maybe in 2020 you made a OnlyFans. Is that correct? Yeah. And then they're like, well, I don't think you're acceptable for this job. And this is a possibility. We don't think you're equipped for this job because of what we've seen. We've seen your
I always wonder about that because I know about the background check, but I didn't know if it involves social media. Can they check on your social media?
Yeah.
A lot of times applications will offer and they'll say, hey, can you post your social media link, your Twitters, your Facebook?
They have to make sure
they just
that
want to
you're
look
not.
at it. They want to make sure you're not saying anything that's not going to really reflect the company's morals and ideals. So
that's why I say, so for girls, they need to ask themselves, is my future is something's going to get compromised because I made this decision? Now that's up to the individual. Yeah. But some companies, and I think the world is changing at a pace where in my prediction, personally, I think it's going to be acceptable in a few years because I think there's going to be some kind of, I guess sex work is going to be more readily available.
Yeah.
Isn't there like my bad. No. Isn't there like an empowering movement with this? Saying that, women can do whatever they want.
Sex work is work, right? Like that. So
I mean, it is work, right? Yeah. And so I think that
you make money off of it.
Right. And I think, hey, if you are putting in the effort and you're putting in the time to look right with whether it's makeup or clothing or lighting or content, editing, all that stuff takes time, right? And so I think there's been this negative stigma for a long time around sexual work, and I think that isn't the proper outlook that we should have going forward. Like I think companies maybe shouldn't look at it. It's like the same way we used to look at tattoos and piercings and stuff like that. Even beards, right? We've experienced that, right? Where they look negatively at you just based on what you're doing in your personal life. And I don't think that's the way companies should be portraying themselves in 2021 now.
Yeah. So you think that the negative opinion is more out of frustration? Because to me, it doesn't seem unfair. They're selling a product. Just happens to be that it's very high on demand right now. Right. So
yes, it is.
Why are there some people that are complaining about this? And it's mostly men, I feel like. And maybe some stuck-up women, but probably the ugly ones.
Well, I guess the argument is more like, well, that's just indecent exposure. That's just you're just giving your body away. You're jeopardizing your future, or it comes more of a, I guess, traditional conservative perspective.
Like, it's complicated, right?
I feel like it's more of like a complicated,
and
it's complicated dynamic.
But I definitely think it goes into traditionalism. It's definitely in that.
Yeah, traditionalism. It's in a lot of different things too, because some people might be traditional and they see someone doing that and they just pretty much shun them, and like other people maybe they're not traditional but they're like, oh, that's just easy, like, and if they're guys, oh, that's just easy money, there's nothing for me that I can do that, like, that's not fair. Some people will think that way too. There's a lot of different ways to think about it, and that's why a lot of people will shun especially OnlyFans now and sex work in general, because they feel like sex is technically easy. In the prime aspect of it would be easy, but in everything else it's actually not. But it's just a matter of how you as an individual look at everything, and it's just a matter of you having to accept it, because this is just how it is. Right. You can't have a make a fairy tale life. Life is life, and you have to take it as it is.
When it comes to the sex market, I feel like it's harder for men because usually they have to take up leadership positions. The pimp. I'm being serious. I'm being serious. So in order to make money out of the sex market, you have to be the hardest worker in the room. You have to literally be a manager and make sure that everything, because you're not the product is themselves, but sometimes they don't even know how to lead themselves. So like I guess the frustration comes in that you can never be the product itself. You have to be the salesman. which is harder. You
Well,
know?
here's the interesting thing, because like a girl like Bella Delphine, how do you say her name? I think
I don't
that's
even
the
know.
right way.
Bill
All right, so
Delphine
this
is
is
whatever.
really popular girl on OnlyFans right now, Bella Delphine. She has a Twitch, also on OnlyFans now, and she's one of the most popular ones, I believe. And I'm pretty sure she has a guy behind the scenes, which is probably her main boyfriend, that runs her account and everything, and obviously is the one she's actually into and fucking her behind the scenes. And that's like kind of how you mentioned, like he kind of controls the platform, but she just performs, and she makes a lot of money for that. So
Not
that's
saying
kind of
that
an
you
aspect.
cannot do it yourself, but you're probably gonna get a bunch of gay guys in your account.
Well, yeah,
You
if
know.
I did it, well, I always
Yeah.
say that if I was a girl, I would do it, because
I respect the hustle. I do.
I would do
Yeah.
it. I'd sell my ass. Why not? I mean, like,
It's kind of just the way it is, right? Like females like, and that kind of the mysticism around, like, oh, what do they look
yeah,
like?
the
you know?
feminine mystique,
Right, that's always going to sell more than a guy is. Even if a guy's great looking and he's
Yeah.
fit and everything else, there might be a small market
yeah.
for that.
We always wanna
It's
know what's
just-
under the hood.
It's just not the market, right?
And why is that? I was gonna ask that. Why is that? Why do you think? What's the difference?
I feel like there's more of a market for, like, on the men's side if you're famous already. So there's actually a singer that I know of a hardcore band. He has an OnlyFans where he just fucks like porn stars, other women, whatever, and he puts it on his OnlyFans, so other women can see him fucking all these
guys
women,
too, right?
and probably guys too. Because it's just porn at that point for the guy, and then for the girls, they wish that they were fucking him.
Right.
And so, like, that's probably the only way that a man can really benefit from a thing like OnlyFans, is if they're already famous and already have a platform that they will use it for.
and that works very well.
Yeah, and
Actually,
it
they
does.
actually, I didn't know that you could, like, I forget you can do videos and you can actually record other people doing it. Like,
Yeah.
when I think of OnlyFans, I only think of like a nude
Pictures.
selfies, like very average things.
you can
but
do
you can make a whole
a lot,
production out of
yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
You could.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so never mind. I take that back.
you-
I guess you can do your own thing, but I didn't know it was that level up where you.
if you could market it right, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That explains a lot.
That's what I said. But my curiosity doesn't really come from why girls would do it. My curiosity, it's something more to think about, is why are so many guys buying into it? That's sort of more of the curiosity I have, because, I mean, like, as I said before, like, the argument is, like, why would he do that if the porn is free? Well, besides the emotional investment that may become, I mean, it kind of correlates to, like, the webcam industry, right? Because, like, websites like Casturbate, I think that's what it's called, livejasmine.com, like, stuff like that.
It's like a chat something.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
there's a bait in there, like masturbate,
those
but I
are-
don't know.
well,
what
that's kind of, I think Casturbate basically,
Casturbate or
you
Chatterbait?
set up your own platform. I think you just make an account and then you film yourself, like, just live, and then people could just jump in. It's free. Anyone could just jump in. But if you want, like, the live person to do stuff, sexual stuff, you need to give them, like, I don't know,
like a
like
donation.
a donation.
comment.
Yeah, something like that. Tokens or donations, whatever they call it. And they would do whatever, right? So that's kind of like part of it. Now, if you go in there, you'll probably see, like, I mean, those things get a bunch of live viewers. And, like, if you go, like, on Pornhub or something, you'll see, like, a lot of these videos getting millions of views, which tells you everybody's watching porn. Everybody's watching it. They're at home watching it. So and then, yes, is everyone watching with their girlfriends? No, they're probably watching it alone in their bathroom before they take a shower, right? And then I guess the question you have to ask yourself is, why is that happening? What would be the reason?
I would say because we're not meant to be in relationships. Like, just naturally, we're not really supposed to.
Yeah, like non-monogamous.
We're a
sort
very
of, like-
social species, and we use sex as a transaction between others. It's not just meant to be only one person.
Yeah,
You know,
like
back in the
yeah.
day, if you needed to get something, and out of something else, somebody else, you probably use sex as a way to maybe trade.
Yeah, I mean, men could jerk off to a different girl every day on porn, and it wouldn't make a difference. He'd be like, okay, I'm done. And sometimes the wife or girlfriend, if they have one, is okay with it. And sometimes, he never wants to have sex with me because he's always watching porn. Is that side, right? Because I have heard that a few times, and then
It's like we're finding ways to because we're trying to not really follow nature, right? We have all this, morality and religions and all types of, the culture we follow. We've been conditioned a certain way, right? But we always go back to the same thing, because to me, if you're gonna watch porn to somebody else, you're putting your time and effort to somebody else. That's technically cheating if you think about it. I mean, by the code, right? Because you're literally,
like your
desiring
instincts,
somebody
yeah.
else, So it's literally the same thing. It just, we find more complicated ways to do it, and then we, still unhappy about it.
That's
You
what I'm
know?
saying.
So,
Well, I find like a lot of guys are not in the real world right now. They are online. They are on dating apps. They're watching porn all the time. If you're a single guy and you're nervous to even talk to a woman,
That's me.
then your best
bro.
bet is to watch porn when you get home from your job that you hate, and then you go to sleep. Or you can do the American Beauty sort of routine and jerk off in the shower before your day even starts and let it all out. So you let out all that, that movie.
Actually, that movie is allowed, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of Lesters out there,
Yeah.
So, but there's a reason why that we do that. A lot of guys do that is because they're not. First of all, they don't want to get out there and actually talk to girls, right? A lot of guys have that
Especially
anxiety.
now. If back then you didn't do it, you didn't have like the chance or opportunity. Now you really have to. I mean, I don't know. It depends.
Well,
but
if you're
like,
if you're an introverted shy guy and you never really talked to a girl, you never had a girlfriend, you're like a 20-something-year-old virgin or more, and it's extremely easy to have 24/7 accessible porn available to you. You could just subscribe to some girl from high school's Onlyfans, and you could communicate with her, and she can give you all the love and affection that you think you may have with her. But in reality, you're just honestly just paying a fee, and you're just looking at some ass. Compared to if you go out and you're making connections with new people, you're networking, you're meeting girls, you're approaching in person, or maybe you make a Tinder account, make some good, take some good photos, make a good bio, put more effort into it. But instead of doing all that, a lot of guys would prefer to do it the easy way: just jerk off in the shower, watch porn, go to sleep.
Yeah, but a lot of people are not realizing the damage they're doing to their own bodies by watching porn, because your body changes. It adapts really fast. So if it's used to all this pleasure and sensations, it's overdoing your whole body. So your brain thinks different. Even your nervous system is different because you keep conditioning a certain way. So you probably can't even have like regular sex if you're just jerking off all the time. You're conditioned for that.
Yeah,
so like a lot of people don't realize the investment they're doing, and they're going downhill.
Especially if you're like if it's during COVID time and you're trapped in your house with your wife, or you haven't had sex within 10 years, you jerk off every day in the beginning, maybe in the morning, and then for the rest of the day you're like, whatever. Right. And now you're trapped in your house and you can't really go out. The bars are closed, the gyms are closed. Now you can't work out, or at least you don't have the motivation to do 10 damn push-ups in your room. So you just waste your whole day doing the same thing over. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think 2020 has made meeting people. If you were single going into 2020, it was very hard to meet people throughout the whole year. I don't know. I subscribe to the law of what was going on, and I believe we were in a serious situation. I still believe COVID is a very serious situation, so I can't fault anyone for not going out or cold approaching or meeting someone. I can't.
I know some guys, like, they have the pressure. Like, they just can't handle it anymore. Like, they're inside. They're not getting results. They're not getting...
I think it could work in the opposite way. I think people that were not willing to do that or just they didn't have the confidence in themselves to cold approach, right? Doesn't last year give them the excuse to anyone else asking of like, oh, well, I can't do it because we're locked in. We're not supposed to go anywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And so... that's something you have to ask yourself, right? And you have to build up your own confidence. And I feel like we haven't talked a ton about mental health through all of this, and I think that has greatly suffered, and I think people's self-confidence is even further dipped. So if you were not going out and cold approaching and meeting women and trying, because we are social creatures and it is important to make those connections. That got even harder in 2020.
Absolutely.
Actually, yeah. I was going to say, too, I was going to bring up social anxiety. I think that's exactly where you're going. We're losing our way of talking to people, how it used to be. So that's actually a great point. We can really get into mental health, because right now, especially the younger, generations, I see like a lack of like social skills, or like they have a hard time knowing how to communicate.
It's because they grew up online on Xbox, on PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean,
they don't know.
If you're not even making friends, you're sure as hell not going to talk to a girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
I mean, like even us, like we're us as like a group of people that are around the same age. We're probably like what, between the youngest to oldest, like a 4-year, maybe 3. We grew up at the time of the rise of the internet, of the rise of like online gaming and Facebook and all this other stuff. We came up while that stuff was growing, while that stuff was in its infancy. So we were learning with it, right? but we also knew how it was to go outside and play football with our friends outside. We knew what it was to go and bike ride with our friends around the neighborhood. We knew that. We as a group of people, we can fall back to that. We understand. We knew. We lived that.
It's like we were in between two worlds.
Yeah, kids now are living what we were experiencing as we were growing up. That they play on Xbox and PlayStation and all these and go on Facebook and they have a Facebook when they're 8 years old, and they're not going outside as much. They're not going outside to hang out with their friends. They're going on Xbox to play with their friends on Call of Duty or on Halo or something. They're not interacting with them in real life. They're only interacting with them either in school. That's probably the only time that they're actually getting physical face-to-face interaction, or they're getting their interactions through the internet. And there's no real way, and it's very hard to find a girl on online gaming. You can only find them through Facebook, most likely. Very, very low tolerance on the gaming, but and then the only other time that you actually see them face to face is in school. Yeah. You can't. It's not like you really, unless if you do an extracurricular sport or like an extracurricular thing. Like for example, like I did like martial arts or something, and let's say a girl is doing martial arts. Like that's the only time you can really interact with all these other people. Yep. But if you don't do that, if you don't put in that effort, if you don't give yourself the motivation to really do any of those things, and these kids they don't know because they've just grown up on the internet, and it's not fully their fault. It's just how life is, and life has grown up around them, and how they need to adapt, and they need to know that there's more than just the internet. Yeah. Because we knew what it was. I
think a symptom of that, right, is you grow up on the internet as a kid, and you kind of go into a fantasy land, right? And so if you want to take it back to like interpersonal relationships, whether friends or significant others or whatever, right? You get conditioned that it's going to go a certain way because your favorite TV show character, this is how they interacted in that situation. And that's not teaching people and kids social skills that they need in the real world. Reality. And so I think that is a definite symptom of the internet and of technology. Of we're not teaching children and teaching teens to grow up and learn how to talk to one another. Everyone's like this, right? Everyone's always looking down at this damn thing, right? No one is ever looking up and actually speaking to one another.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Well, let's say you want to learn how to play guitar, right? So back in the day, we'll call it, you had to buy a guitar. You had to go to a guitar shop, and you had to find a mentor to teach you how to do it in person. You had to do a one-on-one thing, right? And then you'd have to go find a studio. You'd have to build all these things. You'd have to create a network. You'd have to make a band. You have to do all this thing on your own. You didn't have the internet, right? But now you can go on YouTube, and you can learn how to play guitar from your own YouTube content creator that you choose. Yep. Right, and you can learn how to play guitar.
I can look up apps and download them on the computer, and they teach me how to hit the right notes and what to do.
But when you're doing that, you're not necessarily interacting with that person, that content creator. You're just looking at a screen and you're taking down what they say. Yeah, sure. Now, there's a lot more to be given when you actually have a mentor in front of your face, and he's actually giving you step-by-step instructions. And while you're learning a skill, you're also building a relationship with that guy, with that girl, whatever mentor in whatever field you may want to be in. So when you only have the internet, all you could do, I mean, you could FaceTime, sure, but still not the same as in-person interaction. It's not the same thing. So if a guy who's already afraid to go meet women definitely doesn't want to do it now, that's one side of the argument, because now he gives himself some sort of excuse. No one is, at least not right now, no one's saying you can't leave your house in New Jersey, because this is January 2021 right now, so time has passed and things are slowly starting to open up, but we're still not there yet at the making of this video. But you could now, if you could still give yourself the excuse of why you should not go out and meet women in general, because now you can, like, you still could, like when you're at a grocery store. I mean, as I said in the beginning of the video, when you could approach a girl with a mask or without one at your own risk or whatever. But now you can give yourself an excuse why you should not go meet people. Now you can give yourself an excuse why you can stay at home and not. Now, I don't need a girlfriend, because now I could just sit home and I'm getting the stimulus check money. I could be on unemployment for a little bit longer. Now I could just kind of lay back for a little bit until this ends. And it does play a role in mental health, and it's going downhill.
Well, it can be argued that you can die from a virus, so why not give it a try?
There's
But a
that.
lot of people don't think that way. I feel like.
Well, when you talked about fear before, it goes into that, right?
Right.
If you're really very skeptic, which a lot of people are, and you don't think that it's a good idea to go out, you will be in fear, and you're not gonna wanna, you're not gonna want to risk it. But then there is the other side of the coin. Some guys are just like, you know what? Because
I
that's
could die tomorrow.
Yeah, I could die tomorrow, so why not try to get pussy now? Like, here's the thing:
Right.
everybody wants to have sex. This is not this new information. This is human. This is human dynamics at its finest. We all want it. Some guys will go out, and girls too, of course. They will
Sex
care.
right now is at all-time high too, because that's all we're getting, fed on right now. Everything is sex everywhere we go. It's always been that way.
Because now you're in your room and you have nothing else to do except fantasize about how maybe I wish I could get laid one day, But there is the two halves where, all right, well, now I'm gonna give my excuse not to go out, and then there's the other side of the coin where now I definitely gotta go out. I'm sick of being in this house. I've had enough. You get fed up. You just get triggered. I'm gonna go out and meet girls now. I don't care. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna go hit on any girl I see, or I'm gonna make a dating app, or you can make multiple dating apps because we'll get into that. And then you could meet girls through that way, like, or you could just chill back and wait.
Yeah.
Wait. Don't take any action. You could wait. It's an option. There's no one that's telling you need to go have sex. Okay, no one's telling you have to. That's gonna have to be a personal choice whether you want to go out there and date or you're gonna want to stay at home.
Don't complain like a bitch.
Yeah.
Just don't complain about, I don't know why I don't have a girlfriend. Why come girls don't like me? What action have you taken to improve your dating life?
Yeah, I think it depends on people's situations, right? If you're a single bachelor living in an apartment by yourself, right, and you're comfortable, you're in your 20s, and you're comfortable with taking that risk, right, of getting a COVID or something because you're relatively healthy, right? You could do that. If you live at home or you live with grandparents or you take care of them or something like that, then that's a situation where people then are going to make that choice not to go out and date. So it depends on the situation you're in, whether you have young siblings, maybe a newborn. You have to take that into account and I think is be as responsible as you can. I think if you want to look at it in terms of, hey, maybe you're in one of those situations, right, where you can't cold approach and go out and meet girls, right? But you could still be working on yourself during that time. And during that time, when you emerge and this stuff hopefully dies down and we're in healthier places in society, now you could have that self-confidence that you could go out and meet women or meet men or whatever, right? Maybe you worked on your body and you were physically, your mental health, anything you could do. You changed your diet, whatever. And if you're in a situation where you can't go out and meet someone and find that significant other, still work on yourself during this time, and you're going to get those benefits later when all of this goes away.
What you're saying is that even if you're in prison, you can make something out of it.
You see how people are. You see how much all they have is the gym out there. All they have is the yard. You could still do that.
Well, exactly.
And you can read
people
books.
People have gotten lazy though, right? This pandemic has given them a reason to be lazy.
Exactly.
And I think what you said earlier is people have a lack of perseverance.
Now they have the excuse.
Right, and they just want they just want to sit on the couch and maybe they're collecting unemployment and they're not doing enough. And it is important, and I encourage you. You need to do something for yourself because that's how you improve your mental health and you don't slip into dark places. You have to give yourself hobbies and things to do.
At the same time, that's like a cultural thing because I see like, I got that COVID belly and like it's funny in games and all that, but nobody's really like addressing like what's going on.
There's a problem.
Like,
we're overeating like crazy,
gaining
bro.
weight, or you're not, taking responsibilities for certain things anymore, and it's not a joke. Life, is gonna keep going regardless. So when COVID is over, now what? You gotta restart everything.
Right.
Well, exactly. I mean, what are you gonna do during this time? Pete you made a good observation. Like that's the most optimistic way. Like, okay, I'm gonna use this time to get in the gym and make a better body. So when this does end, I'm gonna be a PM. Like I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna be slaying hoes. Like that mentality. And then there's the direct binary opposite mentality, which, well, I don't know. There's no point anymore now. Which actually brings me to, do you know what the black pill is?
No, what is this?
Is this thing on the internet, right? There's these guys. It's like a group on the internet basically, and they're basically just like, it's more of like a nihilism kind of thing.
Okay.
You swallow this black pill and you give up hope. Oh, what's the point? Women only go for this for the 6 feet tall.
Yeah, like the doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Doom and gloom. Type
So instead of the red and blue pill, it became this now. This is where we've
got a
got
lot more pills, than that.
Apparently.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, but basically this thing is like, this is the give up mentality, which a lot of people have right now. Now, if you've been, let's say your job's not working out because Corona, and now you're at home, you're on unemployment, and you're not getting girls because first of all, you're probably scared to go out and meet them in general and even talk to one. So now you get on an online forum or something on the internet where a group of guys come together and they talk about how life sucks. So that kind of mentality is extremely like
It's
infective.
toxic.
Extremely.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are, and I've seen,
They believe in that.
yeah,
People
and that
believe
community
in
is
that.
growing. It's not
Mhm.
declining. It is growing. It is either growing or it's being more uncovered, so to speak, because the internet is now giving everybody a voice. So a lot of these guys are coming together and they're all complaining. Oh, women I'm never gonna grow. I'm never gonna be hot. I'm never gonna get the 6-pack abs and 6 feet tall. And then they complain. They always look at why they cannot do it compared to why they can.
But at the same time, what if some guys actually are really, really not able to get women? Should they be able to just shut up? Just shut up.
Oh, I mean, there's no. Everyone.
You know,
There are people that are like.
there's some people that are really ugly or like,
And they
they're
got
just
like hot
facts.
chicks. No, you have to have a certain amount of social intelligence, and you have to have a
Right.
certain amount of confidence in it. You could be ugly as fuck, and you could be like 4 feet tall, and it's been done. So there is so much evidence out there of like extremely ugly people. Maybe even they might be disabled, and they're still getting girls. There's
So
really
you're telling
no
me
excuses.
that if you had an accident where your whole face is burned,
There's still a way.
You
Yeah,
go to the
Freddy
club.
Krueger could get girls if he wanted to. If he was not killing motherfucker, he could.
I mean, there's somebody for someone out there, but
I
damn.
believe there's always
Maybe
someone
after
for
3
everyone.
a.m. when somebody's drunk.
Exact. Alcohol makes a difference. Okay. Jack Fire always helps.
Oh man,
No one's ugly after 3 a.m., Joe. Okay.
I don't know. It's just it's complicated though. It's complicated, because there are some guys out there who may not be able to, and at the same time, should they just shut up about it? I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, it's
Should-
like you gonna complain.
Should
or
they
you
have a
gotta-
voice?
I mean,
or,
like I feel like with everybody, I feel like it's fine to like examine and observe
Mhm.
and say, look yourself in the mirror. I have an issue, or like anything, right? But it's what you do after that is what really matters. They can cry about it all day, but it's a matter of observing that there is a problem and then figuring out a way to solve it, right?
Mhm.
No, I think that if instead of them going on the internet and just constantly every day, like the same person, let's say the same person every day is saying, I hate my life, no girl likes me, blah, 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 right? And he does it every single day. And then another person that feels the same way does the same thing. Then that's pretty much what this group is. But if they just took the time to really take a step back, take a look at their life and be like, what is this actually doing for me? And what can I do to better improve myself? Then they can find solutions to their issues. All they're really doing is just showing their issues but not doing anything about it. If they wanted to actually get a girl, then they would figure out how to do it, and if they have some sort of social intelligence or any type of intelligence at all, then they'd be able to get some sort of answer for their problem. They'd be able to get something out of it. Maybe not specifically what they're looking for, because that's also an issue. Maybe they're perfectionists and they want this specific thing, but sometimes you just can't get that. But if they can get at least something out of it, then it's a step in the right direction. And these people, I don't think they understand that they can do something about it. They have the power to do something. All they do is just talk about their issue and not do anything.
Well, negativity breeds negativity, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a lot easier if I'm in a position like that, right? And I'm hating life and I'm not liking where I'm going, right? It's a lot easier for me to go on the internet and find a group of like-minded people
You want to commiserate.
that make me feel better that I'm not the only one suffering through this. And instead of the hard work, and it's going to take hard work to change certain aspects of your life if that's where you want to go. And it's always easier not to do that, obviously, not to put in hard work, and just have people make you feel better that, hey, there's someone else out there like me. And that's a negative mindset, obviously, no matter what you're talking about. And it is not healthy whatsoever.
Exactly. And every guy wants to get laid, so anybody could easily complain about, oh, why am I not getting laid? And they're going to make all the excuses for themselves.
The only thing for me is I'm very into freedom, right? Because they have their choice, right? And that's their choice, right? Just like they can come at whoever for wanting to improve their life. They can also come at them negatively, like, what is wrong with you, whatever. So there's always a pro and con for everything, right? Because, all right, they made that choice. Now they got people who actually, like, support them in that choice, and if they're happy about it. But, I don't know. I guess the main thing will be, like, who are we to judge others for, like, you know what I mean? Like, self-improvement is of course, very beneficial. But what if somebody actually makes a choice that they don't want to improve? Who are we to say, like, that's the main deal for me. Like, what do you guys take on that? Should we really just go on people like feel superior for, that's their choice if they want to be that?
Technically, no. I mean, it is what it is. As long as they're not trying to enforce you to sort of think like them. But why would you even, like, if someone tries to shame you, like, why would you even want to go get women at these dark times? Like, why would you even want to even go try to approach a woman or make a dating app? There's no point. Just give up. Just lay back and wait till the virus is over. As long as they're not trying to sort of infringe what they believe onto you. Because what you said about freedom is, like, everyone has their own definition of freedom, what it means to be free. And if everyone, has their own choices to make in order to signify their belief, their ideology or something. So everybody's freedom comes with a choice. It's you have the choice to do anything in this world, but there's going to be consequences to those choices. If you choose to want to be miserable and be miserable with others, you could be happy doing that, but there could be some negative consequences that comes with that.
I think it goes both ways, to be honest, because you have to think of it like, the way I'm thinking of it is just like, that's their religion. It's the same thing. They have their own rules. They have their own gatherings on Sundays.
Well, it's sort of a tribe, right?
Right, and like that's the same thing. If I go to a different church or different whatever, and I say, nah, that's wrong. You should do this instead. It's better. Like that's for me. That's like, I don't know if I want to like
what?
Yeah, exactly.
Who the fuck?
So,
who are you?
I don't know, because now you have this wars between, all types of pills against pills, whatever. We have philosophers fighting all over again. It's like back in the days. Now with new terms and whatever, who's right, who's wrong. Nobody really has the answer. Should we even care? I don't know. Some thoughts for you guys. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, I can't. I can't
you know?
hate on anyone. Obviously, it's their freedom to think and live their life the way they want, right? I would just try to offer advice, right? And that negativity is never going to be productive. You're not going to get anything done that way. And if you wanna have that lifestyle, you totally have the right to do that. And I'm no one to say that you cannot have it. I would just like to try to help that person. And hey, if they don't want to hear me, then I said my piece, and I have no right to stop them anymore. But I just try to create as much positivity as I can in the world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean everyone's going to listen. It's just that I know that I try to change someone's life.
Yeah, but we live in a world of internet shaming, right? So the one word that has become very popular in the last year is the word simp. Now, for those,
not on Twitch anymore.
But yeah, it's banned.
They banned the word.
Certain context, you could say it in only very limited contexts. Like if you say it in a negative way, you say the word simp, you can't say it anymore.
Why do you think they banned it?
I think
all the words, right?
Yeah, I think Twitch does. They're usually very progressive in a lot of things they do, and so they'll ban, like they just banned the PogChamp emote, right? And they're redoing it in a certain way, and that's a whole nother discussion. But I think simp became a very negative term, especially in female gamers like chats on Twitch, and that was a way that you couldn't. It was a way to shame other people, and I don't think that Twitch wanted to be associated with that kind of community.
Do you think it might be part of a money thing? Because so a lot of the guys, right? Simp is like a word that can be used for shaming, right?
Right.
So if you're a guy and you're giving a girl money, some ego money to pretty much for anything, I don't know, it could be games related, sexual, I don't know. I'm not really on Twitch, so I cannot talk about that. But if a guy's like giving a girl all this money, and then some other guys come from the woodworks and say, "Simp, why are you giving that girl money, bro?" Now Twitch gets some of that money. I am pretty sure, otherwise there would not be a platform.
Yeah, they take a percentage.
So if the word simp is being used to shame these guys, and some of them will be like, oh,
they will listen.
Yeah,
like,
right. Which means they'll take the word into consideration. So if some guy gets called a simp and they wait a second, why am I sending this girl money? Now that means Twitch loses money. So I think it would be beneficial for Twitch, not for everyone, but as a company, if I was the brand manager of Twitch, like Twitch, like CEO, I would ban it too, because Twitch will lose money because simp used as the shaming tactic being used on these guys would be negative on the business, because now the girls are not going to get as much money for whatever that they're getting paid for.
Does anybody know the origin of simp or what it really means?
I think it came from like sympathy. I believe, or something.
I thought it was an acronym, but I just don't know exactly
I think so too.
Because I thought it was an
forgot about
acronym.
it,
I thought it was an acronym for something, but I can't remember.
I think
for some reason.
I mean, I think it's risen because with the internet being used a lot more and everything, with OnlyFans and everything, guys are getting called simps a lot more now because they do it in real life as well. They pedestalize these girls online, saying, "Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful," and hoping that the girl will respond to them and give them attention. In return, simp has sort of been expanded and largely used now to shame those guys. Like, why are you giving all this free attention? Why are you? What has she done to earn being called beautiful? Like, some guys will come from that perspective. Or it's just being used a lot more, and now it's being like widely used and known. So like people at my job knows what simp means now, where compared to like a year or two ago they didn't know what that means. Now they know from social circulation.
But do they know the exact thing, or they just saying it in a funny way?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Because simp is it's a psychological thing. It's you can go complex about it, you know?
Yeah.
So
that's somebody's way to believe.
This says it does stand for an acronym where it's somebody or a sucker who idolizes mediocre pussy. So that would be how you get your letters.
I knew pussy was in there.
I thought it was like sexually inactive male something.
I always think of it just.
I knew it had to have been an acronym or some shit.
Yeah. I always feel if you look at the Twitch like community, I know you're seeing it from a business perspective. I just see it more of Twitch is worried about negative community aspects,
I'm
right?
sure it's part of it, definitely.
Yeah, they don't want that kind of culture like that sometimes YouTube can turn into, right? They don't want that, and they try to be very forward thinking. And I actually usually feel a lot of sympathy for female gamers because I'm on Twitch a lot, and
okay, so you know a little bit more. Okay, I don't really know too much
there
about
is a
it.
lot of female gamers that are not on there just like, oh, because hey, they look pretty or something like that. Like they're really talented in like what they do.
And they're about the games.
There is some of them have been forced offline because because those guys and those quote unquote simps got so toxic and weren't used to, you know, they weren't getting the attention maybe that if they donate or something like this and would say very, very nasty things. And so then, you know, these people, they're people, right? They have feelings. And so I always feel bad for them. And there's been some recent instances that happened with some popular Twitch people. But yeah.
I bet it's hard if, you know,
it's a hard
thing
to do.
Woman just trying to be a gamer, actually be a gamer, and you're always getting this shit.
But do you think a lot of guys are sending money just because she's hot, or is there?
I definitely do think that is. I mean, you see a lot of times like the number one trending thing on Twitch, right? It is a lot of pretty girls, right? But people don't look at, hey, how good they are, or how great their content is. They're only seeing one image. And that's where the toxicity comes in. Yeah. Because then when those people come to the chat, they probably weren't fans before today when it came onto the front page. And now they want to be noticed. And when they're not noticed, then they say very hurtful things.
That's right. So I think it comes down to that perspective and the business perspective as one for the reason for banning that. But just the fact that simp is a much larger known word now. I mean, it's definitely partly due to the internet.
It's definitely in the meme culture.
It's just a lot about the culture, like, you know, what's going on around us, you know, that we're taking it like a joke, or, you know.
We do take it as a joke, but it's also like, but there's a serious aspect to it.
There's a lot of meaning into it, you know.
Yeah. Well,
simp is famous because there's a lot of simps out here. Yeah. People want to call them out.
A lot of guys do pedestalize women, especially like, I mean, if you go to any, like the fitness models on Instagram that I was saying before, they get millions of comments all day. Oh, you're so beautiful. And their DMs are fucking off the rails. Hey, you're so beautiful. Can I meet you someday? You're hot. Hey, can I suck your toes? Like, there's like any DM you can imagine possible. These girls are getting, and it's true. I've seen it. These girls are getting DMs from every.
I like when they screenshot them and they'll like put someone on blast under, because I love that, because you know
they send like a random dick pic.
If you're in the DMs, man, and you're saying like really weird and like inappropriate and completely out of bounds things, you deserve to be called out. I'm sorry. Like, get a control of your life.
They might not have any game, man. They might need some advice, like you said before.
And help them. Yeah, that's
bad.
We need to help somebody.
Help them. You know what I'm saying?
They're gonna listen.
We can help you.
Yeah,
they will listen.
I can judge them in the sense when they go too far with it.
Right.
Then that's when I'm like, okay,
you can tell they're aware.
You need to chill, like, you know.
And then you have like the complete opposite with a guy like, oh my god, you're so beautiful, and then some other guy comes in and comments simp like on the comment, or they'll post like a meme, because it's pretty much become like a whole meme.
So basically, nobody knows how to act anymore. If you're too nice, you're a simp. If you're
too aggressive, you're a player or an asshole.
Yeah,
and then you'll get shamed either way. I guess this is like a fine balance you should probably find yourself in, but
So now
just
everybody's
don't even comment.
everybody's looking somewhere else to figure out how to act these days. You know, how to do this, how to 3 steps to this, how to
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
nobody knows how to be themselves anymore because if you are, you're gonna be judged regardless.
Yeah.
So
Well-
people are looking for personalities or some things, you know.
I
I
know
know, like
the-
people like that though are trying to like if you say, "Hey, you're beautiful," or something, they might actually be
They
genuine,
yeah,
right?
No, I
And-
know they
course.
are.
But
I believe they
but
are.
someone is going, another guy or someone else is going to attack you for that because they don't like that. You know, we don't do that here, kind of thing, right? They don't like that stuff.
We don't allow.
And they
sex
think
here.
you're having an angle with it, like, oh, hey, you're trying this approach to say you're beautiful, so that guy gets noticed. It's like,
I
no,
guess.
that person was just being literally genuine.
I mean, online is a free for all, but
Yeah.
if you see that in person, it depends on the man because you're not gonna say that to.
It's also-
6'2", 220.
It's also about
you know what I mean, like
But
on how you
yeah.
say it too. But online is a free for all. If it's not, if you believe it, that's on you. But online is online. It's
Yeah.
keyboard warriors everywhere.
Oh, I know. Well, I
you
think
know?
That always will be.
So I would just ignore it, to be honest.
Well, I mean, girls get those comments every day, and then just their egos are getting blasted up. I mean,
Because they believe it. I mean,
yeah, like Mike and I, we made we did a Tinder
Yeah.
experiment.
We did that Tinder
right? So,
experiment,
you
yeah.
know, what's that?
Ah,
we
I
we,
gotta
we,
watch.
we made a fake girl's Tinder. So we took like a pictures of girl, and then we only had the account like active for like 24 hours, and we were just swiping. And the girl was getting like within like 24 hours, she had like over 99 likes, and she would get
Yeah.
crazy
And
matches,
then
and guys were messaging her like
In
crazy.
the middle of the video, we had gotten like 50 something matches because we started swiping in the middle of the video to see what would happen, and instantly we were just getting
I believe it.
blasted with
That's
with-
just a short
with
amount of time.
matches and messages, and we went through all the messages to see what people's openers were, and like trying to improve upon like
Yeah.
what people should be saying, and
Yeah, like,
different things.
gr-
What's
yeah.
boring to a woman, like what a woman would think would be
Hey.
boring. Hi,
Yeah, right.
hey yo.
Probably
Like,
not.
Well, yeah, I mean, girls are getting compliments left and right. They've been
Yeah.
getting told they're beautiful since they were like 0 years old, right?
Yeah,
So
technically, yeah.
now, what guys basically just want, guys just want the genuine desire, right? Guys just want to have that. A lot of guys are not getting genuine desire. They're not getting that emotional connection, right? Whether it be their wives or they're just some single guy and they're subscribing to OnlyFans because they're not getting, they don't feel desired by women. And that creates like kind of and in a world where you can see everything on people's stories, you see people, yo, I'm at the bar, yo, I'm at this crazy party, I'm at this crazy concert, even though COVID anyway, I don't care, right? You see all this stuff on people's stories, and you feel like you're missing out.
Yeah.
And guys are saying, guys and girls see this from a different perspective. Girls just want to be in the fun. Girls just want to have fun, right? Great song, right? But guys, they don't feel like they're desired because they see all this stuff going on, and they're not getting part of the action, right?
Yeah,
they kind of
because-
they're at home and they just jerked off and like post nut clarity, like, oh man, I should not have done that.
There's
You
a
know?
high demand for women right now, but the standards to get women right now are getting higher and higher. So if you don't meet that standard, then you might have to wait a little bit till you get your merchandise.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's crazy
So
because
it's kind of like whose fault it really is, because it seems that back in the day, most guys could get women, but now not most guys can really get women. At least not as easy as some other guys. The top, what is it, 20 or 10? That's like the term they use.
well, now the dating market has gone global, right?
Right.
You could set your Tinder distance to like anywhere around the world. Quite honestly, you can meet
Yeah.
people from anywhere if they're willing to fly in, right?
Yeah.
But we're not. There's a different age now. Like technology has made things possible we never thought we could, and just seeing all these things going on online, like whether it be on your Snapchat stories or Instagram, you see everything going on in the world, and a lot of guys feel like they're not part of it, and they're not in the
That's
fun.
like
Girls too.
That's like, okay, there's a high demand for PS5s, but there's no PS5s available. But you see commercials all the time, advertisement on TVs, you see billboards, all it says PS5. You cannot stop thinking about PS5. You want a PS5, but there's no,
Correct.
merchandise at the moment, You have to wait your turn,
Yeah.
Unless you know people, unless you know how to get to business, how to connect, all that. But most people, the average people, they don't know how to get to that merchandise. Wow. Okay.
Or they don't. Yeah, that's a great analogy. Or they just don't have the social skills, or do not want to learn the social skills to
Right.
require that, because we live in a lazy generation. So a lot of guys will prefer to be lazy and just jerk off to porn rather than actually go out and meet girls.
But do they understand that they have a choice? Like, they can wait for that PS5, but do they understand that they can actually try and go get it somewhere
Well,
else?
I think it's so easy
Or
that
they want to follow the rules.
yeah, I think they know they have a choice, but it's just so easy not to follow through on the harder choice of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it's easier to stay home and just comply with whatever the government's telling you.
right?
Yeah, some people
Just
might
wait.
even think that patience is the harder thing to do, and so some people were probably were wired in their brain to believe that having a lot of patience and waiting on everything, no matter what it is, using patience is a harder thing to be doing than it is to just go and get it. Some people might have learned that.
Right.
Some people might have learned that. Some people, and that's what people think. Some people think the opposite. Some people think that waiting for it is just being lazy. But it's just a matter of, I guess, what you think. I mean, I guess it all really depends upon what the situation is, on if you should use patience or you should not, and you should go for it or not, depending upon, I guess, the situation or what specifically that you're waiting on or not waiting for, or that you don't want to wait for.
Yeah, well, like
Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
Now, I was gonna say, I just thought about this now, is that, okay, now that you think about it, every man does have an option to have a woman because there's prostitution. There's always a way to get women.
You can go to
But then
Vegas.
Morality.
and you
I
can-
guess we're talking about morality
yeah,
here, you know.
it's definitely part of it.
So, I guess morality right now, to get women might be different from back then, or like there's, I don't know.
And part of it this year is with the pandemic. Now,
Yes.
are the girls willing to come meet you? Okay, so
Right.
let's say you're on a dating app and you're talking to a girl for a while, and then you ask them to meet up, and the girl says the unfortunate answer of, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't feel safe going out with the pandemic right now." Now that can cause a bunch of different scenarios, right? The guy could either get like, and I've seen this from people who've had online dating apps themselves. Option one, they get super pissed off. Oh, you just don't want to see me. You're just creating an excuse. So even though the girl might actually just not want to go out. Number two, she doesn't really feel the guy that much, so just be like, she could use it as an excuse, because I've had girls personally tell me that they used the COVID as an excuse not to see the guy just because he was being a little creepy or being a little forceful, and she just did not want to meet him, so she would use COVID as an excuse to not see him. And I've been told that personally by multiple women already. And then there's like the third option, and I mean, she could really just be fearful of it, right? And she just maybe just like wants to wait until she gets vaxxed or something, and wants to take her time with it, so something like that. So it's also, will she go meet you in general? And a lot of guys that could either frustrate you, or you can do what a lot of guys don't have, which is abundance mindset, and they'll just be like, okay, fine, I'll just find someone who wants to hang out, because it's really down to personal preference at that point.
But nowadays, you really need to have that I don't give a fuck mentality.
You
because
have
if
to.
back then you were like, oh, she might not want to talk to me, she has headphones. Now it's like she might not even want to talk to me because her life is in danger. You really don't have to, like, you cannot give a fuck at that moment. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna go in. But it's hard to, because your mind's gonna play tricks on you. It's gonna be like, she might not, whatever, blah blah blah. But now with COVID, it's 10 times higher, because you might think that everybody wants to follow social distance. That's like a main deal right now.
Yeah.
So like, you really have to cultivate that, fuck it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
As a pro tip, I will say that I've met girls that, like, at first they were like, oh, I don't know if I want to go out because of the pandemic, and then I kind of worked my way in, and then eventually they kind of budged. So I've actually had situations where, like, at first they were like very skeptical, like, oh, I don't know if I want to go out, but then I'd be like, okay, well, we're not going to go to a bar or anything. How about we just go to the park? We meet up for coffee. We'll sit in my car and listen to some music and just jam out. Okay. So, like, certain situations you could use to your advantage from, like, I'm talking about, like from a game perspective, if you're a single guy, like, tactics that you can use to actually get a go on a date. Joe, have you been, like, do any of those things? Like, what would be your way? Like, say you're talking to a girl and you're feeling it, right? And you ask her to hang out. She says, I don't know if I want to go out because of COVID pandemic. What would you say?
Well, to be honest, I'll try to, like, keep it simple. And for me, the main thing is, let her tell you no, right? If she says, I don't know, blah, 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 the way I see it, I can still keep pushing. I might back up a little bit. I may even call her, trying to get her, like, to interact with me, be playful, tease her, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, you're being scared, whatever. Just, try to, like, convince her. But unless she says, you know what, no, or, like, she ignores me, I'm going to keep pushing forward. Well, you need to know you have to read her, even though it's through text or technology, whatever, but you need to understand how to read her and then work from that. You may have to push it a little bit more, like, oh, come on, you'll be all right, you with me, whatever.
Yeah.
Or you may have to be like, all right, How about I call you, blah blah blah, and then just keep playing with it.
Yeah, I'll
But
say it depends
it
on
depends.
the level of attraction she has for you. So
Mhm.
if she's kind of feeling you, and she's sort of like, oh, I don't know if I want to meet up, and then you could sort of go from there. And you have to have
Right.
social intelligence, by
But
the way I'm saying.
Right. The thing is, you can be attractive, right? But now, not only do you have to be attractive, but they have to be comfortable now with you. Especially now, if they're gonna go out with you and they haven't met you, with the whole COVID situation. So you have to you have to find a way for yourself to make yourself unique, or to make her feel comfortable. You have to show her the personality. With online dating or whatever other social platform you want to use, you need to stand out, and a lot of people don't really know how to stand out, so that's why they get rejected that way.
Yeah, a lot of
But
guys.
if you show that you're human, she might be willing to take the risk.
Yeah, a lot of guys would just default to emotionalism, be like,
Right.
"Oh, well, is this something I said? Where you don't want to see me?" Like, they'll just get, and then it'll just completely blow it out of proportion. Well, yeah, I like to take more of a practical approach. I'll be like, "Okay, well, can you tell me why you feel that way? Or, oh, is like something going on in the family I should know about? Maybe, like, you sort of want to make it feel a little bit more comfortable and be like, oh, why, ask away a little bit, chip a little bit at it. Like, oh, is there something that's going on to make you feel uncomfortable? Would it make you feel comfortable if we do something else? Kind of lay down some options, give her some little leeway. Just don't like get butthurt about it and start getting pissed off. Like, wow, well, fuck you then. You don't have to be an idiot. You have to do it.
Like,
you want to find out
right.
why.
Mm-hmm. If based on the conversation, how it's going, you can try to read if she actually means it or not, and then try to convince her. But sometimes you can just tell they're using it as an excuse. If they're not showing interest before that whole conversation, that whole thing happened, then you probably know, all right, she might just be playing.
Yeah. And another thing I'll do is I'll do a FaceTime call. So I'll do like a video chat.
Yeah, exactly. You
so
do
yeah,
a call, whatever.
Exactly.
Then,
like if you don't know if she's feeling you, well, you could be like, I don't know if I want to meet up with COVID. I'm like, oh well, how about we just FaceTime and get to talk a little bit and see the vibe and see if we click a little bit. And then after a good FaceTime call, maybe you get to know a little bit. Maybe you feel a little more chemistry and vibes, because it's better to talk on the from FaceTime anyway.
She sees your face.
You have the technology available. Why not use it? Instead of being, you could just text her. It's better. It's easy.
Right.
It's better if you actually find a time to FaceTime. If she's into you, right? Two things are gonna happen. She's going to FaceTime you, and you're gonna have a good conversation. It's gonna be okay. Or she's not that interested in you. Like, oh yeah, maybe. Or yeah, I don't. Maybe next week I'll be free for a 2-minute FaceTime. Basically, you have to look at the behavior and look at if she's not into you or if she's into you from judging by her behavior, not by her words, but what she's doing.
Right.
Because sometimes they don't want to be mean. They don't want to reject you outright. They're just do little things and they'll give you little subtle hints. Because women are covert, right? So they're going to give you little subtle hints to whether they're into you or not, whether they actually want to meet you during this time.
Right. Guys should definitely try to reach out, either call or FaceTime, just to get more of a sense who that person is, because through text and just pictures of a person, you can't really get to know the personality. You know what I mean? So if you get a phone call or whatever, or a FaceTime, you can actually like see the personality and the body language and all that, and that should be how do you say it? You can save time instead of just wasting time and going on a date with somebody like, oh wait, this is not who I thought it was. But at least with a phone call or FaceTime, you're able to at least try to figure out who they are.
Exactly.
So they should definitely do that.
And I asked you that from a single perspective. Now we're gonna ask Mike and Pete. Has this whole thing like kind of changed your relationship in any way, or your girl's been a little more skeptical from all this, or is she still willing to go out like with you to places, right? And you're able not too much have changed, or
we go out all the time. It's more of a, with COVID, it's more of a thing about our families. We want to make sure that they're healthy, and so like my fiance, for example, a lot of her family members that she lives with in her own house have specific issues. They have a lot of pre-existing conditions like COPD, emphysema, etc. Things that are hard for breathing. So on top of them all being smokers, so going out like in a crowded place with people with coronavirus, bringing it home, giving it to the people who have these conditions that are conditions about breathing is probably not the best idea. But it's more of, and not even to the fact that we're all frontline workers pretty much. We all work in the front lines in essential businesses, but we try to do what we can with what we have. So if we want to go to a park, we go to a park. We bring our masks just in case if we want to go into a store, and we have to, of course, wear one because that's a mask mandate for the stores. We have to do that. Otherwise, we just have it with us, and we probably won't use it, or we sit in my car or whatever. But if we want to go somewhere that's might have a high risk, it's usually a toss up. But it really all depends upon what we're feeling. But we know the dangers of what is happening. So we try to keep it. We try to keep it at home. We try to just stay home for the most part. But we also want to go out, because we don't want to. If you stay inside, then that's just pretty much what's the word I'm looking for? It pretty much you're just hibernating. Let's just say that as a word. You're just pretty much hibernating, where you want to come out. You don't want to be boxed in. You want to go out. You want to, because the world is how it is. You lose that outside nature because they're telling you to stay inside. We try to do what we can outside, but you can't do everything. But
so I was gonna ask, have you felt that tension of like that frustration, like have there been like, I don't know, little like remarks or like frustration in the like relationship, or not really? You being able to like work it out?
No,
it's still the same thing.
Oh no, it's been great.
It has not affected date night, I hope.
It
is
not,
yeah, but I like
date night is great. No, everything is actually great.
Do you do what some of those nudist articles says and wear a mask during sex? Is that part of the protocol?
That's a thing? Wait a minute. Wait.
I
Pause real quick.
never heard of that.
Really? I've seen it. Yeah, I think from the New York Times or something.
He did say he would do what he can.
I will not wear a mask. I will not wear a mask.
What the CDC recommends.
But I want to say that I
think I seen a video.
Yeah, it's
what they
actually true.
recommend.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
So you should do that.
I've seen with my own eyes. I've seen with my own eyes at work a couple coming into the store, and they stopped in the line at the checkout line and start making out with the masks on. And
wait.
think about that for a second. Think about that. I literally
post cringe.
I literally cringed hard. And I
that's what we call stupidity.
I can't explain
That's the first time I heard
how much my
like
brain hurt.
Yeah, there actually is news articles that were like, oh, well, it's better that you, I think it was more of an opinion piece, but it's still published.
Right.
It was just like, oh, it's better if you wear a mask during sex to prohibit the contact of corona. And I was like, oh, my God.
I mean, that could be an empowering thing to basically say "fuck Corona." I mean,
I guess. I mean,
as I'm sticking my dick inside this woman's
or like
pussy,
break the mask.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pete's also in like more of a long-term relationship. How's it affected yours? This whole thing?
It's changed the dynamic in the sense of just what we do, right? And so I think we've been out like twice during all this stuff. We went to like one dinner, like a date night, and then we did like a whole Halloween thing when that went on, right? Which was masks on, and you're keeping a distance from people and all that stuff, right? I think it's changed. Like, we primarily stay home now, and we're only meeting at like each other's houses. But I think it's also introduced like creativity into the situation, right?
How?
And so, hey, if we can't go out, let's like a week in advance, like let's plan a date night of like, all right, what are we eating and what are we doing? And so we have that plan going in. And so I know for like Valentine's Day, like coming up now, like we're planning on to do like a taco bar kind of thing and like set that up. And there's different things I think you can do in a relationship still to keep things fresh given the circumstances that have changed.
Are you able to still do spontaneous events, right? Like come up with different ideas, for a little surprise, and
and most of that stuff usually is at home, so it limits the spontaneity of things that you can do, but it's also taking account. I would echo Mike's statements about like we do have families that have pre-existing conditions. There is risks there, right? And so you have to be responsible, and I think I have no problem whatsoever putting more onus on myself to make things interesting, even if I can't go many places.
Yeah, there's definitely different perspectives, because some couples that are in long-term relationships, they don't really care about going out wherever. They just kind of want to have their fun. Like with their significant other, they want to go to parties and still do the thing. So some people will take the risk. Others, like Mike and Pete, they will sort of use it to their advantage, right? They'll do certain things at home. They'll make certain little events for their couples to do. Or once in a while, they'll go out for a little date night. They'll go out to dinner or something, which you can do, right? It really depends on the context of your situation, who's around you, what your environment's like, and what you decide to do with it, and what kind of thing works best for everyone, right? Compared to Joe and I would do different aspects because we sort of live different lifestyles, which is okay because everybody has their choice of preference, right? So Joe and I, we choose to sort of, or at least I'll speak to myself, I don't mind meeting different people. out there. I don't. I'm not really cautious at all. I'm gonna admit that I'm a piece of shit. I guess.
Hey, come on.
If you want to call yourself that.
Bro.
According to some people, because I've actually.
You're the man.
Yeah, let me change my voice
There
real
you
quick.
go. Come on.
What I meant to say was.
Male empowerment.
Hey.
Men can be hoes.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. So like, I'll go out and I'll meet people because I don't really care, right? I just kind of, I'm a hunter, right? That's what I do. So I go out and I meet different people and I enjoy it, right? And now, have I been shamed for that? All the time. That's why I said, because I've actually been called a piece of shit. That's why I said it. Because like, people will be like, oh, you're just risking everybody's life, and I'll be like, I guess I just own it, because you're gonna get shamed from no matter what you do, right? If you're
Somebody else gonna do it too.
yeah.
People are gonna have sex regardless, and especially in the hookup community, it's gonna happen regardless. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on who you interact with. Some people don't really care for it, and they go out and they mingle and whatever. Like, I'm not gonna go. I haven't really been in like any parties or anything, but
just check your temperature before and after.
Exactly. Make sure you wear a mask. Like, like you want to really decide what works for you and what preference sort of works for you. Like, what's your method, Joe?
For me, I think I try to. Well, I approach in person now. Like, my whole thing right now is I try to approach in person. I'm not really into where the game is at right now, which is the apps. I think that most, the apps right now are very
Tinder, Bumble, Hinge,
right.
OkCupid.
They're more comfortable to get them out, blah blah blah. But I try to approach in person. So I'm more of I'm out there shooting my shot. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, it's harder. But I'm willing to take the risk, because. For me, dating apps, it can be very addictive to me, so I try not to get with that, but I'm more of a long-term trying to approach, trying to get those skills up, and then get what I work for, But not saying that dating apps is not, you don't work for that, but for me, it's very, it's a gamble for me, so I try to stay away from that, because my personality, I can be very impulsive.
And that's another big one for this, the past couple of years, in fact. Is that dating apps versus meeting people in real life. Now, there is statistics that show that people, they meet a lot more. Like, it's risen crazy in the past since like 2010. It's risen a lot more in the past few years. So most couples now, they meet online compared to like social events or through mutual people that they know.
Or the bar.
Or the bar, stuff like that, family, friends. A lot of them meet online now, for the better or worse, right? Online dating has changed the world. So, I mean, I used it for most of 2020. I tried to use it little as possible, but sometimes it's meant to be very addicting.
Right.
Like the swiping thing, it's supposed to be addictive. There's a reason for that.
Going to a casino every day.
Now, did I have a lot of success with it? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But
yes, sir.
But that's also, you could say it's living it on easy mode, because going out and approaching is a lot more harder, and it takes more risk. And once you're in the zone, once you go up, you say hi, you're in there. You can't swipe left in person. Okay, right. Once you're in the zone.
You have the fear of direct rejection. Like, it's gonna be right to your face.
That's right. Which I have suffered. Like, I've gone through a lot of success and a lot of rejections as well. Mostly rejections, because most of the time you're gonna get rejected. But that's okay. That's a good thing, because it's gonna make you stronger, and it's gonna make you learn. By learning social skills, you're gonna have to get rejected. Right. It's a very big problem for a lot of people.
And rejection is different. If you got game, you know how to, socialize, you know how to talk, you can get rejected and still feel good, because the way you were rejected was, it wasn't like a big deal. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't like that. Right. And you play it cool. Yeah. But a lot of people, they don't, as soon as they get rejected, it turns awkward. They don't know what to do, or blah, blah, blah. But if you have that personality, you can literally just, play it cool, whatever. You might even add her somewhere in social media, and later on, something could happen. But the point is that it's always up to you. Yeah. How you take it, and then how you move on from that is, you can be chill about it.
And with, like we said before, with the pandemic, now we give ourselves an excuse not to go meet in person, because whether we're scared of the virus or not, whether we're skeptical of it or not, I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is just like the excuse we tell ourselves. Oh, right. Well, I really want to go talk to that girl over there, but I got to stay 6 feet apart, and she's wearing a mask. So you can literally talk yourself out of a good deal. So let's say there might have been a girl that really was interested in you, would have worked, but you told yourself not to because of everything that was going on around you, compared to if you meet someone at a grocery store or something and you're talking to them and it's a good conversation, but then you kind of pussy out. You're like, oh well, I don't know if she's gonna like me or not. A pandemic, I'm not gonna be able to meet up with her anyway. You'll talk yourself out of trying to set up a date or something just because of the environment near you. So a lot of guys simply don't have the confidence because like if you watch a lot of old movies, I mean obviously they're just movies, but before the internet, you had to go approach in person.
Right.
You had to join a club at school, or you had to take her to the dance, the high school dance, right? You had to do social stuff like that in order to mate, right? In order to date and all that, right? But now you have the internet. Now you have dating apps, so you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to go to a club now. You don't have to go to the groups that you could meet with, because now you could just stay online.
Right. Well, I mean, it's still possible because I'm still cold approaching right now, and there's still ways, it can be normal. For example, like this morning, just by walking my dog, I'm just going outside walking my dog, and there was this cute girl just walking her dog too. And just because, the dogs were like interacting with each other, then we get to interact with each other. So we had a conversation, it was nice, blah, blah, blah. I did shoot my shot, but she was cool about it. But the thing is that you can still find your chances. It's up to you how do you want to approach it. If you're scared, it's going to be not probably the best. But if you're like, you know what? To be honest, you don't even think about it, in that moment. Like, oh, no, COVID, I can't talk or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're if you learn how to be social, you learn how to, be calm, I guess you can still do those things.
Well, I think like sometimes like we have this urge, like something in us is telling us to go for it, but a lot of times we talk ourselves right out of it because we give ourselves an excuse of why we shouldn't do it. Oh, I shouldn't talk to her. You know what? I'm just going to go on Tinder later and swipe right, and hopefully I'll get a match, right? That's kind of like the mentality that we live in now because things have changed. Compared to back in the day, there was no dating apps. If you wanted a girl, you needed to work for it. You need to actually go out and you need to go talk to them. You need to develop social skills. Now you don't have to do that, right? And it's going to affect the dating world in this sort of time in a very big way because now you have more options to not do it. You have more excuses, right?
But also another thing is too that since a lot of people are thinking that way, if you do want to approach and you know how to do it well, you're not like a creep approaching, you can really stand out that way.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But if you gotta know how to you need to know how to play the field and how to talk, because if you do it in a way that's like, whoa, I've never seen any guy do it that way. The eye contact was on point, the confidence was on point. She's gonna remember that. That's all those guys that are online, they can't really match that energy that they never experienced like that.
Well, like a lot of guys will complain. That's an argument is, I never swipe right with the ones I really want. I always swipe right with the less attractive ones.
And everything.
Yeah, like oh god, I want the big hot ones. That's what I really want. I want the best of the best. And then you might ask that person, well, why don't you just go talk to a hot girl in person? They'll be like, like they'll come up with any excuse, right?
But they don't understand too that there's levels. You can approach a hot girl, but you look like shit, or you don't have that confidence yet, but you need to understand that there are levels to this.
Yeah. And
approaching them just make that transition easier. Sure, you can wait for a hot girl to talk to you, but you can literally act.
Yeah, guys be waiting for signals for a girl to like come up to you and be like, wow, you're hot. That's not gonna happen. You have to be the initiator. If a girl like approaches me, I'm gonna be on my guard. Like, yo, why do you have so much confidence? Yo, what's going on?
At the same time, too, you will, when you approach too, if you're on that level, it's gonna be like, all right, I know I can get this. I can get her, and that's gonna give you that confidence. But if you're not on that level, you're gonna like subconsciously know that, and you're gonna be like, she might be too much for me, whatever. But if you work on that, self-improvement, then it'd be like, oh man, this is I can get this.
If you have the confidence and you have the social skills and charisma, you actually, in my opinion, you have more of a chance of scoring with a hotter girl than you would just swiping right. Because once again, as we have proven in our Tinder experiment, right, girls are just getting crazy amount of matches constantly. But what they're not getting is guys coming up to them saying, hey, pretty cute, what's your name? That they do not get a bunch of times, right? So it's different. You automatically stand out just by having the guts to do it, because not a lot of guys have the guts to do it, right? A lot of guys will stare at a girl from the opposite side of a parking lot instead of actually having the guts to go say hi.
Right.
And then they just come off as like creepy. It's like, yo, why's that guy staring at me over there? And he's just like, you know, like on the other
Or
side
like
of the lot.
they're so involved in like, I'm just gonna go out and get girls. You know, like they really like they have that desperation in them, right? And before they even go talk to a girl, let's say he's looking at the girl, right? And then she looks at him, but since he doesn't have that confidence or he's desperate, as soon as she looks at him, he's gonna look away or he's gonna like the body language is gonna say everything. So you just pretty much before you even talk to them, you're already setting yourself up for failure. So you need to have that calm demeanor. You have to have that work that you've been putting in for months or whatever it is. You have to have that on you. But if you just like, oh yeah, I want a girl, yeah, let me go get a girl, but you haven't done nothing, you have no creds for yourself, nothing that for yourself gives you that confidence, like, oh yeah, you know, I did this, you know, or I went to the gym, or I'm a great speaker, I got this confidence thing that makes me who I am. But if you don't develop that, then you can't. I don't know, maybe, but it's very hard.
Yeah. Well, you have to do the work, right? You have to work on yourself constantly. And you always have to be evolving, right? You always
need to
be
have
putting in the work.
receipts for what you want to get. You know what I mean?
Like you're gonna go into a really high class bar, like in New Jersey. There's a lot of like really high status like places that you can go. You gonna go there in shorts and a t-shirt. Right? Like, are you gonna like? You need
and
to
expect the best.
Yeah, no.
You know,
sweatpants.
You gotta,
While this girl's been getting ready for hours.
Yeah,
they
doing
has
their hair and everything.
expensive dress, whatever, and you're gonna just show up and just because you think, oh, I need
yeah. Sometimes
I want.
You have to ask yourself, you know, why do I deserve a girl? Have I even done the work on myself to even go out? Right? Like you need to put in a certain amount of work on yourself. You need to go out, prepare for success. Right. You know, have the mindset, I'm gonna make it happen. Mm-hmm. There's no try. I'm just gonna do it. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Make it happen. I will make it happen.
The whole thing I was just saying back then, I guess it comes up to this, is that you don't get what you want, you get who you are. So if you're on that level, you're gonna get what you are.
You get what you deserve.
Exactly,
right?
You get what you deserve. But you gotta be willing to take the effort and practice.
Yeah, practice is a big thing, right? You can talk theory all day. Mm-hmm. You can talk about, well, this girl did this because of this, and girls all suck. But in reality, what are you doing to get better? Are you reading books all day? Are you like searching on the internet? Are you like doing all these things? Are you going out in the world and you practicing? Are you learning social skills? Because that's something. Another prediction for the future is that like we're gonna be lacking a lot of social skills because all these kids, especially this year alone, were raised on the internet. Pretty much, school was on the internet. There was no in-person interaction, so it's gonna affect some part of our brains in some way in the future. Right. And if you're not going out and practicing your social skills, you're not gonna improve and you're not gonna get better. The only way is to take efficient action and go out there and do it.
People right now got to the point that they're watching videos on how people react outside, like the conversation, pranks, the pickups, all that stuff. You're watching people interact. Because, you know, you're not doing it yourself or you're bored, whatever.
You're using it.
You know what I mean?
You're also using it for entertainment.
And you want that feeling of like, oh, wow, you know.
Wow, he did it. Like, I don't know if I could do it too, but he did it.
Exactly. So it's just like, we gotta get better with the social skills. And I'm, you know, me, myself too, there's always improvement as well. I'm not gonna talk like, you know, I'm the best at socially being the best, but we can do better.
Yeah, you have to. It's not about getting rejected or not. It's about actually going in and doing it anyway. It's about working volume. You need to be constantly sourcing. Like you always need to be taking action and doing it and learn.
You know, because if you get emotional, you're not gonna learn.
And if you get rejected, you're gonna learn something. You're gonna. Why? It's like when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. He learned a bunch of ways that did not work, but he found one that did. You have to keep trying, keep going, and learning new things. And if something's not working, use your logical brain and figure out why is it not working. What can I tweak in my game to make myself a little more attractive? What can I do to sort of up my chances? Can I get a better physique? The answer is probably yes. Of course, you can always get a better physique. You can always work on something. You can always improve your diet, and you can always like improve your lifestyle, your energy levels as well. Because the more you go practice, and even if you get rejected or you get a success, no matter what, the more you go out, you learn human dynamics through a real life lens compared to learning on a video or the internet. By looking at real life body language, looking at the facial expressions, and by going what they say and how they say it, because it's not only about what you say, it's about how you say it and how the information is conveyed. The context and the content of each interaction will provide more information to your brain on how you can better utilize your chances at reproducing, which is what it all comes down to, if you think about it, right? So the only way to do that is to go interact and actually take the action and work volume. Constantly keep going. If you get rejected once, okay, fine. There's another train every 10 minutes. I'm ready.
And the thing is, too, now that since right now everything is so external that people are just focusing more on the body, the style, the who you are, like what do you do for work, whatever. You can improve on that field. And yeah, you can get, potential girls and why not. But you also have to work on that internal, area, department, because, if you don't have that understanding, that knowledge of what's going on out there, you're going to get played, you're going to get, you're not probably going to get the best of the best. But so you have to work on both scenarios. Self-improvement is not necessarily just, all right, I'm going to just go to the gym, I'm going to get bitches. Yeah, you're going to get bitches, but you're going to get played too if you don't understand what's going on, if you don't improve that. The mental aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a girl successfully, and then and then something could happen, or she'll like give you a shit test and you fail miserably, and then everything could just blow up on you. So it's not just I'm gonna go get her, bring her back to my place, bang, and then okay, that's it. It's not like that. There's more to the game than just that. There's more aspects to that. You're gonna get shit tested. You're gonna go through certain trials and errors, right? And that's how you learn, of course. But people go into this whole dating world thing, especially new people that are being in long-term relationships, and then they become single, and then they realize like it could be after years later that the marketplace has changed, the dating world has changed, and a lot of people are not prepared. They're not mentally ready to go in this world of online dating, and like a lot of divorced couples, right? Let's say you're married for like 30 years. The game was different back in 30 years ago.
That's a good question right now for our guys over here. Would you guys think that if unfortunately you'll be single, how would you think the dating life would be easy for you? Would it be hard? What do you think?
Because it has been years for both of you.
Do you know what's going on, or you just
How would you handle it? Mike, go first.
Okay, well, I know that everything has changed because when we did that Tinder video, I was so fucking confused with Tinder. I had used it maybe for like a couple months before I got into
all the features and all that.
I was, and even then I was so confused. I was like, what the hell is this? I don't like this. And yes, it is very addicting because when we were doing the experiment, I was getting addicted to swiping. I was like,
and I was the sound, the image is just like, you're like, oh,
well, I don't have sound on. I never put sound on, so I don't even know that, even that aspect. So thank God. But at least on the internet side, like I feel like that's just too much. I feel like that's just way too much for me. I wouldn't be able to handle that. I can't. It's so there's just something about it I can't handle. I'll probably just if it was the case, like I would just cold approach or whatever, because I feel like that's the not even the best thing to do, but it's more of a thing where
simpler, more calm.
It's simpler on paper.
Right.
It's a lot simpler on paper, but it's also more rewarding, like in your mindset, because if you do it, and regardless if it was a failure or if it was a success, you learn from the interaction regardless. But like that's probably the best way I would do it, because I like to have trial and error. I like to learn from things. I like to make mistakes and learn from them and try again another time. I like doing that. So like if that was the case, I would say fuck these online dating apps, and I would stick to traditional. And I'm more of a traditionalist.
You can't get addicted. You can't get addicted to cold approach, because every time there's always gonna be risk. Like for Tinder, you can swipe and it's like feels good. There's no risk, but every time you're gonna cold approach, you're gonna be like, oh shit. Here we go again. Yeah. Every time.
Oh shit.
You're not gonna get addicted to it. You're gonna get nervous.
It's like, here we go. Going in. Yeah. Going in, baby.
That's why I said it's a lot easier to do that on paper than it really is to actually do it in real life.
You have to take the action. You have to have.
But you need to know, and like it takes time for you to be to do it and get good.
Right.
But like just by doing it, you're going into that right direction. You're taking a step in that direction. So I mean, regardless. Like the dating scene in its entirety is a lot different from the last time I was single, and even from the time I was single before that. Yeah. And so, everything is changing so drastically, and even if let's say I do become single, let's say not now, but years from now, it's going to be even more different than it is right now.
Right.
So it's going to be something that men, especially for men, they need to adapt to. They need to understand. They have to see their surroundings, and they need to take a direction. They need to find a direction, and they need to find out if that's the right way.
Right.
That's the only thing that you can do. You have to just do trial and error.
So most likely you would do cold approach, try to stay
gotta
calm with the...
I need to stay off the internet.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to stay off the internet now.
Stay off Twitter, Mike.
That's a lawless.
I like that choice, Mike. What about you?
All right, Pete. You become single tomorrow. What do you do?
I think dating apps wise would be a learning curve, right? So I imagine probably many things have changed since I was last on them. I would probably do a mix, if I'm being honest. I in the past had success in both in terms of real life cold approaches and actual dating apps. So I probably go back to that model of doing
you've
both.
actually cold approached before? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I also
Give us a story, Mike.
This
Come on,
man
bro.
has a background.
I also like meeting people through other people, like through friends or things like
Got
that.
that
Of like,
network.
oh hey, yeah, I have someone who's single who would think you're cute or something. Do you mind if I show a picture? Like, so that's something that's worked for me before.
Yeah.
So I probably go back into that, and I think it's important. I probably rely on you guys. I think having friends and a wingman per se.
Having social proof.
Yeah, to
Makes
kind of
it
teach
easier.
you what you've missed and if that situation arose for me and how to go about it now and whatever year it would be. That's probably how I go about it.
Here's a pro tip. If you guys want to increase your chances of you going to a public place, bring a girl with you. Doesn't necessarily have to be a girl that you are seeing romantically. It could just be a friend, but the other girls don't know that. Now, what that is that is a form of pre-selection. So if you're going out with a girl and the other girls at the venue or bar, wherever you're at, the other girls see you with this girl. They don't know why she's there with you. She doesn't know what's going on. So use it to your advantage, right? So a girl could actually not necessarily be a wing girl or anything, but she could sort of let the other girls know that, hey, this guy is okay to talk to because he's with me and I'm a girl just like you, right? So girls like guys that other girls want to be with, right? That other girls want to bang. And just having a girl with you, basically indicates that you're comfortable or to be around, because especially if she's a really good looking girl and the other girls see, oh, why is he with that girl? What's so special about him that he's willing to attract a girl like that? Girls look at that as a form of a possible cat fight if you play it right. But but it's also part of the social proof aspect. It's also pre-selection because it informs that the hindbrain that other girls want him, so maybe I might want him too.
And that you're most likely not a creep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which a lot of guys are pretty much
They
going off
are,
of these days
so-
because they don't have the confidence to approach, right? I mean, I didn't start like slaying hoes. Right? I didn't start doing that. I was like extremely like just the most nervous guy ever.
Right.
Like we went to like a year ago or 2 years now. Christ, we went to New York City, and we were in the
Yeah,
subway.
just over a year ago.
Right? Yeah. Oh man, don't remind me. And we were in a subway, and Joe and I we made a pact, a promise that we were going to cold approach one girl while we were in the city.
I remember that. Wow,
Yeah.
man, a year
Nice
goes
and simple.
fast.
So Joe went first, right? What happened, Joe?
Alright, so basically I saw this girl. I think we were waiting for the
We were waiting for the train. Yeah.
and I just saw her by herself. So I was like, and I remember that we did that pact. So I'm like, alright, I gotta go in. So then I was like, yo, Andrew told me I'm the best man ever, and he's like, alright, he said that, and I just went in. And I remember that I guess I didn't understand the environment that I was in, that I'm in New York. You know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, I think you're cute. What's your name? And she's like, I guess she got scared by asking, and she's like, why you want to know my name? I'm like, because I want to know. And then she was like, who are you? So I'm like, oh, I said my name, and then I was like, yeah, so I think you're cute. You should give me your snap. And she's like, oh, I got a man. And then I played it cool, so I was like, oh, it's all right. And then I was like, you have a good night. And then she gave me a smile. But I guess at first she was scared that I was asking for her name without any other information. Just like, hey, what's your name? In New York City. So he was like, who the fuck?
The context might have been.
Yeah, like they might be like, he might be playing, because you never know, especially in the subway. You don't know what a stranger is going to do or whatever. So you don't want to tell information like that to a stranger.
And then I went next. And the girl that I went up to, she was the most attractive one that I could find. And I was like, I'm going to do it because I made a promise. And, I was like, I'm going to do it because I said I was going to do it. And I like to be a man of my word. So I went up to her and she was like on the phone already. But she was on the phone for a while. I was like, I'm not gonna wait any longer, and I don't want to approach anyone else because everyone else here is definitely unattractive or male. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it no matter what. So I was like, hey, excuse me, I kind of introed the phone call, and she was like, I'm on the phone. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I see like on the phone it says daddy. I was like, oh no, I'm not. I don't know about that. I was like, I said, hi, what's your name? Something like that. She was like. She kind of like gave me like a stare, like, yo, who are you? And I was like, oh, okay, well. And she kind of like turned away, and like the body language was clear. She's like, yo, get away from me. So I took it as like it was an L, but still it was a victory because at least I went up there and I went to go give it my best, right? So we start, and I was very nervous when I did that, right? And it can be very hard when you first start getting into the dating life because you don't know what to expect. And if you're married for like 30 years and then becomes like you get a divorce, you become single, it's like, and you realize that everything has changed.
Yeah, it would be very difficult. Yeah, it would be a steep learning.
You have to
curve.
adapt.
Yeah.
You've never been rejected. Like, what if you marry your high school sweetheart, right? And 30 years later, you divorce, you have kids. It's like, oh, what am I gonna do now? You have to. Same thing like all of us. You have to practice and get better. Because Joe and I, we didn't start cold approaching like we were pros, right? We started like we were a little shy and nervous, but we kept getting a little bit better because we kept doing it more and more and more. It's about working volumes, about getting better and taking the action itself.
And at first, I mean, at least from my own experience, I tend to just follow like a formula when I first started, where I would be like, hey, where's your name? Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. Like, just simple questions. But the more you do it, the more you realize that, it's just socializing. Just you have to be very observant, know the environment. You have to pay attention to the details. And you have to have this calm, like you're just socializing with a person, And then, I don't know. For me, I try not to be too fast when doing the cold approaches. I try to at least have a conversation and then go for the social media or the number, and then not leave like just dip, but then talk a little bit and then like play it cool.
Yeah.
But at first you have to find what worked out for you, and the more you do it, the more you realize that it's just socializing. You just have to be you have to be in the moment. You can't be in your head. So
yeah, and you can either be direct or the two methods I find is the indirect method of approaching, and then there is the direct method. So if you're newly single in today's dating marketplace, right, you could do two things. So you can go in there, just go up to her and be like, the direct way is like, hey, I just had to let you know, I just think you're extremely stunning. I had to go talk to you because you're just extremely cute. What's your name? And then you can go that way and just kind of like, you could imply that it's sexual because I think you're attractive and that's why I'm here. So you're going right into it. You're just going like, you could go extreme, which
your intentions.
Yeah, you could go extreme and be like, guys have actually done this with it. They'll be like, I just,
I wouldn't do that.
No, I just, hey, you're sexy AF. I just want to bang, and she'll probably be like, no.
She'll probably slap you in the
face. There's no story to that. So that's like extreme direct. But regular direct is, hey, I just thought you were pretty cute. I had to come talk to you and say hi. And you can see where that goes, right? And then you can go from there, right? Like Joe said, she already knows your intentions off the bat, and you're already at a good place because she knows where you're at. There's no hiding anything.
Honest, at least.
Yeah. So there's a bit of that. And then there is the indirect method. So you could easily go up to a girl and be like, hey,
try to strike a conversation.
Yeah, like anything. Yeah. Like let's say she's walking a dog and the dog is wearing a Spider-Man little outfit, like some of they dress the dogs in.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's my favorite superhero. Like you could create a conversation out of anything. You could like, oh
wait, did I tell you about that?
That's where it came from.
It's very familiar.
I did get the snap that day.
You inspired me, my friend. You inspired me. Yeah. So, like, exactly. You can make a conversation of anything, right? The dog was wearing a Spider-Man outfit, and you use that to your advantage. And that was more of an indirect way, but it worked, right? And you ended up getting the Snapchat at the end, which is a success.
Yes.
So the more indirect method is more kind of just starting a casual conversation or anything. You could easily go up to a girl and say, wow, I really like that coat you got. Where'd you get it? Macy's or something? And then you could easily go from there. Like, or hey, I really like.
I won't say Macy's.
I don't know. Whatever. Like, what the hell are you?
You got that Gucci coat in there.
Hey, man. Hey, if you could rock it, you could rock it. No matter where it's from.
You got that from Goodwill?
Yo, where'd you get those Jordans from, dog? I need to. You know, you could go the indirect method. So you could.
But I get it.
There's two different things, right? So it really depends on what kind of person you are. Maybe you're a little too shy and you want to go indirect and work your way up. That's okay, because you could still make a conversation out of anything. I would say use your surroundings to your ability. And what's worked for me is use what she wears, right? Because girls obviously are into like what they wear. So just comment on something on like what they're wearing, and they'll respond very positively. Or like if she has like a tattoo, hey, it's a really cool tattoo. What made you want to get it? You could ask about the origin. That's also a good conversation starter, right? It doesn't have to be planned. It could also just be very organic. You could just create something out of thin air, or just speak your mind. That's why the direct method kind of works for me. Because if I think a girl's attractive, I'm gonna be like, yo, this is why I'm coming up to you, because it's true. This is like authentic. This is like the real me. I'm not putting on a show. I'm not saying some fancy pickup line from some website. I'm saying, yo, I just had to come home and talk to you because I thought you were stunning to look at. Like, you know, that's it. And then if they're receptive to you and they're into it, they're going to be okay. And then you can start a conversation, see where it goes, and go for the number at the end. Or if she's not into you, she'll try to reject you with a soft blow. You know, girls don't want to be dickheads. And they're like, get away from me. Me too. Like, that's not, that doesn't actually happen.
That hasn't happened to me yet.
Yeah. What actually happens is, I'm
No
sorry.
one wants to be mean, you know, like you want, and also I would think in many cases girls have talked about too. They don't want a potential confrontation, right? Because guys could very negatively act to a situation, right? And so you want to try to delicately handle that as best as possible.
Well, a lot of guys don't handle,
which is
rejection very
unfortunate.
Well, a lot of guys will be like, "Why is this something I said? Is it something I smell?" Like,
which is a poor approach on a personal level. Like, listen,
do
like,
I offend?
Yeah, like you take it in stride
Do I
and
stink?
you respect someone. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, guys will get very emotional. They get very angry very quick, and that's obviously a very big turnoff because a lot of guys cannot handle rejection. But you need to, if you get rejected, you need to handle it cool. You need to play it cool, man. You can't just go getting super pissed off because she doesn't want to sleep with you. She might they might be like, "Oh, I have a boyfriend," in which case she might actually will. So just let it go. Yeah. And if it's
usually I play it cool. Like if she has a boyfriend, she told me, "Hey, I have a boyfriend," so I'll be like, "Fuck you, bitch."
No.
But I say it in such a way that it's cool.
Whatever.
Like, what a guy.
Whatever works, man. Trial and error, right? If I usually get the I have a boyfriend thing, I'll play it off like as kind of a joke because I like to have fun with things. So she'll like, I have a boyfriend. I was like, yeah, it's cool, me too. Like I kind of play it off like that, and usually I get a good chuckle out of them. Like why not? At least you make their day. Like if a girl's getting like approached, you can make their whole day by doing that, right? So it's kind of a win-win either way I look at it. You get rejected, it's a victory because you went for it and you made her day, and now she feels special and you feel great.
And that's and that's a good way to look at it because it's kind of like righteous, you know what I mean? Yeah, you could be like, whatever, but at least you have that good intention. Yeah, that should count for. I believe in karma and whatever, but I think that should count for something. Yeah, and you at least think of them being at least they enjoy the conversation or whatever you did.
Yeah, you have to actually like be able to just to handle whatever comes at you because a lot of things will. And it's really on how you handle it. But once again, you need to work volume. You need to constantly do it over and over.
And that shows also that you're not so much on your head or like, it's not all about you. You're having an interaction with somebody else. You can make somebody else have a good time. Even if you don't end up with what you desire, your goal was, at least you made something out of it.
Yeah, exactly. You need to make the best out of everything, right? I look at things from an optimistic viewpoint. If I don't get this girl, I'll get another girl. Right. Fine, I'll take rejection and use it as to my advantage. Like, good. I did not waste any more of her time, and she didn't waste any more of my time, which is another reason why I like the direct because it's fast. I like kind of like fast paced and just kind of I want to know where I'm at, and I like to kind of like I don't like to waste too much time. I want to see what's going on and see where I stand and what I can do to improve the interaction. Right.
And it works for him because I'm gonna tell a story. I'm not gonna say the whole thing, right? But we went out to campus, right? And we were like, you know what? Let's get some training, right? So we did some cold approaches in the wintertime. So it was cold. It was at nighttime. People were in a rush. Nobody really wanted to be outside. And I think it was on a weekday too. So the bars were not even like, the same as the weekend. But I remember that we had different mentalities. Like he was about the fun, about the interactions. And I'm over here thinking like, man, it's too fucking cold for this. Or like, I'm like, nobody wants to talk in the middle of the street. It's cold, whatever. Like, I didn't really believe. And then at the end of the night, he got the most success because he actually was like, you know what, I'm just here to have fun. I'm gonna get something, I drove here, whatever. So he, the mentality really does play a heavy, how do you say, impact on if you're gonna get what you, desire to.
Exactly.
So,
It's all about the mindset you have going in. If you're in this dating marketplace in today's world in 2021 and you're unsure of what you should do, look at your surroundings and what's available to you. If you are in a big city, I would say you should. I think cold approaching. Online dating. I think Pete's method is sort of the best, depending on who you are, because you could use dating apps. Use it sparingly because it can get very addicting. If you have an addictive personality, and
yes.
you will use online dating apps too much, then it's maybe not be the best option. But if you can limit it, to maybe once a day or something, then I think it's okay in moderation. And then you have the other side, which is cold approaching, right? And meeting people in real life instead of just online. So using tactics that we're explaining here with the mindset, that's another way you can go about it, is going out and meeting people in real time and just learning the body language and cold approaching and finding out what works and what doesn't work and sort of giving it your best shot. That's another way, an effective way to survive in the dating marketplace and not take it too personally, because you can't take rejection too personal, right? It's really depends on the person, and
especially if you're gonna cold approach, because that's when the rejection is right there.
It's gonna sting the most.
Yeah, and it's hard. Yeah.
You can get on Match, and that's whatever. But when you say, "So I have a boyfriend," that might sting a little bit more. But the only a what? No, you don't. You're just lying to me.
What did you say?
And they just go crazy. But it's important to maximize your chances. So if you can maximize, do both. But if you feel like dating apps are just too much, and then maybe work on your social skills a little bit more, especially if you're more introverted. It's beneficial to you if you exercise your possible extrovertedness that may be somewhere in you and go cold approach, because it's going to make you into a stronger man. Or if you're a girl, girls love being approached, kind of, sometimes, depends.
Well, yeah.
They like the flattery. They might not be into you, but at least you can make their day. As long as you're not an idiot about it and you don't go saying some dumb stuff.
You also have to read the temperature of the room, right?
Yeah, you have to.
And so, maybe going back to your example of last year, going up to someone on the phone, probably not the best idea.
In New York in the subway.
It's the logistics do matter, and there's so many different logistics that you have to pay attention to. Your environment does play a part. If you're just walking around in the city or something, and it's oh my god, you're so cute. It might go well during the daytime or whatever, or you're at a park getting a little run in the morning, and you see a cute girl running too, and you just say hi. Right? Or if you're in a grocery store and you're just waiting in line or something, and you're just oh really, that's a really cool tattoo. Where'd you get it from? Start a conversation indirectly like that. There's so many different things you could use to your advantage, logistic wise. So if you really don't like using technology, just go to a cold approach method. Or if you're a little shy at first, but you still want to start cold approaching, use online dating sparingly until you start developing a little more social skills. Until you work your way up little by little, and then eventually you get kind of good at it because you start being able to read body language a lot better, and you're able to understand communication in different ways, and you're able to experience the female side of communication versus the male side of communication, which are different. Females are more covert with their communication. We are more overt.
And do you think that dating apps are easier, less addictive, if you already have one or two girls already who you're talking to the whole deal? Or do you think, because at first, it could be people can be on dating apps desperate because they don't have anything else.
That's right. Well, you want to develop
if you have
options.
a girl too and then you go on dating apps, do you think it's easier then, or you still think that it's still addictive?
It's easier. I think it's both. I think it's easier,
both,
but it's
right?
also addictive because
men always want more.
Yeah,
right?
Part of our kind of innate biology, innate evolutionary biology, right, is to always be conquering, right? Always want more and more and more. Technically, people are never satisfied. You could be a millionaire and still go to bed why? You could still not always be accomplished at what you do. So technically, it is always easier because you just swipe. But it's also we technically always want more. But you can I think you could take breaks, is what it is. Sometimes, because all these dating apps, they have options to where you could activate a snooze, or you could temporarily disable them. So you can take little breaks here and there, and then shut the dating apps off when you kind of want to go more experience more in-person stuff, which is what I'm doing right now. Or you can just sort of using it sparingly, just go on it if you can maintain that sort of discipline, which not many can do. But I think in person technically is always better because you benefit more from it. Like you swiping is whatever, but learning human skills, which we are losing rapidly right now, is a more beneficial to your, not to your ego too, but it's also
everything,
like
your health, your mental health, everything.
The issue too with dating apps, right, is like it's a very shallow perspective, right? You're intended to be instant. Right? So you look at someone and in 3 seconds you just look at them visually. That's it. You're probably not even reading their profile, right?
No. Right.
And you're just swiping, right? So how are you getting to know who that person is, what they like, what are their mannerisms, what are anything? Or you guys could may be attractive to each other on a physical level, but like logically and your intelligence wise, you're on two totally different platforms of what you like and the views you have, and it's not going to work from the start. And you're not going to know that because you swiped in 2 seconds right and then moved on to the next person.
Yeah, because like I feel like, especially once Andrew and I did this this Tinder experiment, is that like what a lot of the guys just do is just blindly swipe right because they want to get.
Wait, not most, all.
They want
all guys.
They want maximum. They want maximum amount of success. They want maximum amount of matches, right? And so they don't care what it says, what it is.
Right.
Once they get the matches, when they'll figure that
then
out,
they'll determine.
They'll figure it out for themselves at that point.
Which is a poor mindset.
Yeah, and we can't fully be blamed for that. That's just how we are.
Well, that's how the app is set up.
And also, how the app is set up.
Imagine reading every bio of every girl, liking, not liking.
I'd rather read a book.
I don't have the patience for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've done that before, and I'll accidentally match with transsexuals, and they'll be like, hey, and I'm like, oh, I'm just not into
couples.
that. Yeah,
we've seen those in the Tinder experiment.
It is, we've
seen those in the Tinder experiment.
Yeah, so sometimes I'll get into accidental swipes, I'll have to unmatch them and be polite about it. And I'm just not into it. Sorry.
And then on the opposite side, women, they will literally sit there and look at every picture.
Yeah, they will.
They will read everything of the bio because they want to make sure that they match with the ones that they want.
It's more about quality.
It's more about the quality than the quantity. We want quantity, they want quality, and that's just how it is. That's just how it is in our biology. And honestly, that's just how it is. That's just how it's always going to be. There's no way of changing that ever.
Yeah.
But it's also dating apps. The way I look at it too is that you need the middleman, which is the dating app itself, to get somebody else. Like you have limited creativity because you're using somebody else's platform to interact with other people. Like if you do it if you're doing it in person, you have every possible creative way to approach. But in dating apps, it's only one way, which is very physical. The pictures. Sure, you can have a creative bio if they read it, but I think in person you can be more creative and you can be more unique than in dating apps. But that's just me, though.
No. And in the past, though, I try to... I mean, yeah, everyone is a victim of swiping right constantly, right? But I tried to limit myself in reading a bio, and I was more prone and to actually swipe right if I thought your bio was funny. That was something I looked at, and if this was unique and it wasn't oh, hey, here's my age, here's my height, here's the school I went to.
No hookup.
Right. It's something that you commonly would see, right? But if it actually said something, some quote or something corny or something like that, I'm like, oh, this seems like an interesting person that I would like to talk to.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel that way? what is your bio typically say? Are you very practical in your bio, or are you more...
tell you right now.
Are you more just jokes with it?
I'm my bio. I'm kind of very kind of a little bit of both. I joke around. I'll be like, oh, swipe right if you want a expert cuddler or something. Or I'll say something like that, or I'll be like, oh, I'm just I don't even know. I change it sometimes. I'm always kind of mixing it up to experiment, but I sort of do something something funny, and then I'll put just kind of a basic summary of what I'm looking for and what I am not looking for. So I'll say what I want or something like that. So I kind of switch it up, What about you, Joe?
Mine is simple. I say, for me, I'm very proud of being Puerto Rican, so I say I'm Puerto Rican born and raised. I say what I like. I'm like, hey, I like reading books. I like working out. And I think I was and I like women. And I still get matches, because I guess they add a little bit of
simple, direct.
Simple, direct,
Something that's very important is they need to upload good photos. especially in today's
Right.
world, right?
Yeah.
Many things on the internet are artificial, but you can use photos to your advantage. Once again, I look at things from an optimistic and opportunistic viewpoint. So how can I maximize photos to look the best they can? So like Mike and I, we got like a professional-ish for like photo shoot done, and we got like really good photos taken, and I used it as part of my
Those photos are good though.
yeah. Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Allie, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout
Yeah,
out.
shout out
Allie's
to
great.
Allie. Thank you very much. She helped us, and we had some really good photos. So I used them in my dating apps, and I saw my matches were they were
Higher.
risen quite
They increased greatly.
exponentially. Yeah. So pictures do matter as well. If you're gonna make one, you want to
Right,
have
you're
good
willing
photos.
to invest, you know.
Yeah, it's a
you
good
have
if you really care about it and if you really want to make the best of it, invest in like find a photographer and take some really good photos. Not some selfie, hey, I'm at the beach. Like no, like get really good photos done. And you could have like you in different uniforms, right? Different outfits and different locations too. There's a lot of things you can
if
do.
worst comes to worst, you
Pictures.
could use it as a LinkedIn profile pic.
Exactly.
You know? Like
This-
it's twofold.
Yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it. So like this, and you could, because a lot of photographers, they know a lot of good angles that you could use. Because I
Right.
think angles sort of matters as well, like where you're at, what you're doing, and like Instagram works well because it displays your life. Well, at least what you want them to see, right? So let's say you have a boat, right, and you get pictures of you on a boat. That looks cool. That's fun. And that's adventurous. Girls just want to have fun, just like the song, as I said before. And so that kind of demonstrates, like, oh, I'm out here having fun. And why not have fun with me too? It kind of shows
another
that.
thing you can do, which is a little bit more simpler too, is that we have good technology right now. We have good phones with good cameras, right? So whenever you go out, if you go out with friends, whatever, it only takes you a minute or two. Be like, hey, yo, let's take a pic. Take pictures with friends. You take pictures by yourself.
Yeah, that
Takes
demonstrates
5
social
minutes.
proof as well.
You keep them safe. Then you have a stack of pictures of you going places, hiking. You going to clubs. You got friends in the pictures. Every meaningful thing, graduations, even if they're not even yours, whatever it is, take all those pictures, collect them, and that way you can keep, those important pictures in whatever, social media you want to use. But it only takes 5 minutes of just being like, you know what, let's take a pic. We're out here.
It's good for
in
the
beach.
memory too, right?
It's good for
like
the
you
memory.
said that to me a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, right?
You always have the
when we went to the
throwback.
city, I had those pictures, right?
Right.
It's good to remember those.
And it only took you a minute or two.
Nothing.
That's it.
Nothing.
But you have to be aware of it and then take advantage of
Exactly.
Those are
One
good
of-
times.
one
Oh
of-
yeah, we took that picture in front of the tree, right?
Yeah.
We gotta
Yeah,
find
those.
that picture.
Yeah, it came up
Yeah.
on my time hop and
Yeah.
Sarah's.
Yeah.
That's a
So,
photo to frame.
You want to
Yeah.
use good photos to your advantage. Like if you're cold approaching as well, you can do it contextual. So what do you like to do? Do you like to go to the gym? Do you like to play chess? Maybe join a chess club or something. Do you like to play certain video games? and
martial
maybe,
arts.
Yeah, martial arts. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of like I would say sub tribes that you could join. Or let's say, what if you want to learn how to dance? Right, that's a very underrated thing to meet women.
That is
If you-
something I need to do.
If
I need
you
to learn how to
if
do.
you
Yeah.
yeah
Right.
if you want to go learn how to dance, right? That's a good example. And go join a dance club or something, or a dance class, and you're gonna meet girls doing that regardless. Like obviously you don't want to do it to meet girls, okay? Don't get me wrong. It would be bonus though, and you'll learn a good skill as
Don't
well.
deny it
It's like-
either.
that's an interesting
Yeah.
line.
Well,
you
yeah.
have on,
You gotta
on a
balance
dating
it out,
profile.
yeah.
Exactly. You don't want to. It's part of it.
Don't
but it's
lie
not
to
the whole
yourself
thing.
either, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Good
all
point.
right.
You know, so there's like different things that you can do, or join like an improv class or something.
Yeah.
Right. You could take different classes to learn cool things. Right. Get out into the world.
Teach you to be adaptable when
Right.
you do an improv class.
So you just don't. You don't have to go on the street to meet women.
Wait,
You
did
could.
one?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did one at
word.
college. It was like a recreational one. Man,
awesome.
it teaches you to be adaptable.
Yeah.
Oh
Because
yeah.
it's just everything changes scene to scene, person
Exactly.
to person joining in.
That
is-
seems fun though.
It is a lot of fun, especially if you're in a group of people that like
Good
you're
people,
you're
right?
friends with and you know, and
That's what I'm-
everyone
that's what I'm
everyone
saying.
jokes around, doesn't get
Exactly.
overly sensitive about something. It's great.
Yeah, if you're doing something you like, it's going to be easier to approach a girl because you're already in your zone. You're already comfortable in a situation, and you're with hopefully like-minded people that share the same kind of thing. So if you're like in the gym, even though I don't really recommend that you approach too many girls at the gym because you're always there and it could be awkward real quick. I know this because I've done it. Okay, so. Like if you're in dance class and you want to learn how to dance, like I used before, just approach a girl, just start talking, making conversation. Yeah, so where are you from? You're from
Let me ask you guys this, because I saw this on Twitter, and it was a girl. It was a girl putting
Wallace.
someone on blast over a dating app, right? And rightfully so, because it was cringy. And have you seen this functionality on dating apps where you can do voice intros now? So you could record yourself speaking to like
I think
have
I've seen
the
some
the
of
other
that, right.
person know what
wow.
you sound like, and so you could have some kind of opening line.
You
So
see-
I was
yeah.
wondering if you guys knew about that or like have
I
used
think,
it.
I
Or...
think I was aware of it, but
I never used it.
I never know.
I didn't even know it existed.
I know
But
there was.
it-
an
I didn't
option.
know until I looked at
There's
Twitter,
a-
and I was
there's
like,
a-
oh.
But
there's
that's
a-
what I'm
how you
saying.
can do. You can FaceTime. You can call. You can do a lot
Really?
of options. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Technology is improving every day.
If they agree,
And,
though.
Yeah,
You have
these things
to
are
agree.
updating all the time. I
Mhm.
actually did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd use it though. I mean, maybe if it can work in my benefit, sure.
I saw this one
Have
person
that,
posting
have
just
that deep voice. Hey.
it was like
yo.
a
Yeah, you-
cringy,
yeah.
cringy voice intro, and she was just writing, and she was just like, "Man, this is not what to do." And so I clicked on it, and I was like, "Oh Lord."
Hey, how are you? You just use some
Hey.
like deep voice.
I also wanted to say though, if you're gonna join those classes, clubs, cults, whatever the hell you want to do, always aim to be the best at it. Because if you're the best salsa dancer, guess who's gonna dance the most with the girls? So like, you know what I mean?
Well, you'll be the
Who
hyper.
get the most
yeah.
attention.
Well, you'll
So
be
always,
the alpha of the group,
you
right?
know.
You'll be like the high status one,
Right.
and the girls always they want the best,
So
right?
one, be the best, and two, be social, and then you'll be good.
That's a good point. Very good point. If you're
Mhm.
gonna do something, try to be the best at it because girl likes a guy who's competent. Right. It's very very
Yep.
important. But a good thing is that when you're doing things you like, it's gonna be a lot easier because you're gonna be able to approach girls that are also into the same thing, which is also a very good, easy conversation starter. So that's like another way that people meet is they meet through doing things that they mutually like to do.
Mhm.
So like certain classes, certain
Absolutely.
things like to do, you can take advantage of it. So, but the thing that stops a lot of guys is that they don't want to get into the world and go
Well, we
do
really-
something.
We really can right now.
Uh,
get into the
Well, yeah,
world.
but when things do open back up, at least,
Right.
you know, they wouldn't
Right.
want to before. But
True.
the good news is that maybe all of this, like being isolated, maybe it'll be a motivator, right? That's hopefully, I like to think so.
It is
If
to me.
history
It's
could
up to
could
you.
repeat if history could repeat itself, 1918 was when there was that first pandemic, the first one that from the last century,
Spanish flu.
Spanish flu. And so once that was over, it might have I think it took them like a year or two, but that's when the Roaring '20s boomed, and that's when everything was going crazy and everything was going like that. So we might have one of those, but it actually might. I think if I'm going to predict it, it might actually take a little bit longer, because I feel like people are still going to be people are still going to have fear. People are still going to,
It's
the
gonna
news
hard,
media
right,
and
yeah.
all that stuff is going to try to still induce the fear, because that's what, boosts ratings and stuff. So it might take a little longer, but people might end up just getting, fed up with it, and we might have another boom just like that. It might even be bigger, because now, of course, there's more population. It could be even crazier.
I hope
we won't
so,
know.
but
That's-
the way
it's-
people are acting these days with the anxiety and depression, it's gonna be a sad room.
I think that will definitely happen, just because
Yeah.
if this pandemic has taught us anything, at least one thing, people took many things, even basic social
granted.
interactions, for granted, right?
Mhm.
And so now, us hanging around this table, this is something we couldn't do 6 months ago,
It's
right?
a lesson.
And so you have to appreciate those moments and go out and get what you want and try the best to improve yourself and improve your life, improve your family's life. And I think people need to remember that, and I think people will remember that going forward in this next year.
Another thing I realized this year is just how much they let politics get into their relationships. Now,
Elaborate.
This is troubling times. my
All right,
friend.
so there's been a lot of examples. Okay, so once again, I hate Twitter. Okay, let me just say, Twitter is Corona. Okay, so
And not the beer.
not the beer. Okay. So there's been like you'll see a lot of stuff on Twitter where girls will be like, "My husband voted for Donald Trump, so I'm gonna divorce him." It'd be like that. That's what I'd be seeing, and they mean it. Like it ain't no joke. Like there are divorces going on right now because their husband was a Republican that voted for Donald Trump for this election. Did he lose? Yes, as of this moment. But the thing was, just the fact that they voted for him would initiate a divorce, would qualify to divorce him. Now, in my opinion, I think they're divorcing him because, like, they probably were not even into him that much anyway, right? I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. You guys can talk about that.
And with the politics, I know I would, if Andrew was still here, he would tell the story. But I know that there was a time where he was in a conversation with a woman, and she literally said to him point blank, just like, did you vote for Donald Trump, or are you voting for Donald Trump? Because if you did, then we're gonna end the conversation right here. And of course Andrew doesn't like either person, so he said that I wasn't even gonna vote. So that's how it worked. And like it's so weird that that people are bringing politics into a relationship. Like, I understand, like, there's certain views and stuff or whatever, but like, you're going to just completely like nullify this person's existence because of their views. You can't respect someone else's view. You can't, respect someone else's like aspect of, how life is. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I remember in like 2016, like when the election was going on and I was single at the time, I remember coming across bios that literally said, if you voted for Donald Trump, swipe left. Like, that's literally what it would say.
Politics seems very black and white right now.
It is, and you know what? There's normally I wouldn't say this, right? Because you could be Republican, you could be Democrat, you could be libertarian, you could be whatever you are. I think we're in a very trying time in this country, and I can understand people are always going to gravitate toward like-mindedness, right? And so it can be very shaky ground, shaky foundation you're building on if you were with someone who has completely opposing political views. Maybe it is for the best that you don't start a relationship there, because it's going to cause problems down the line, especially now more than ever.
It can be a factor, especially if they don't have genuine desire for you.
But are people more willing to communicate and be open-minded to listen to the other party, or it's like, you know what? Nah, fuck. Donald Trump is evil.
I feel like that's gotten a lot worse.
A lot worse, right? Well, nobody really wants to.
Well,
I feel like it's more because of how everything is politically. Like, the political parties have become where they're pretty much eating away at the majority, like the minimal parties, to the point where they wanted just to make it the two-party system. They completely want only.
It's been that way a long time, for a long time.
And they're still eating away. The libertarians and all the other guys, they're trying to fight so hard to make it so it's not like that anymore, but they just stomp them into the ground because it's just how it is now. Because people nowadays, all they do now is just watch Fox or watch CNN or watch MSNBC or whatever else other freaking news television that's online or that's on the TV, and that's all they do, sit there and watch, and they just consume all of that, all the shit that they're saying, and that's what they believe. But they're only taking it from one side, and then the people on the opposite side are consuming everything that's on that side. And so when they come together and they talk, they're getting two completely different sides when each side is not even the actual side. It's not even the full thing.
The whole story, right?
Yeah. And so they can, one side will condemn the other side will also condemn the other. Right, and that's why they create fights with each other, and there's no reason for it. Like, I highly doubt, like, I'm pretty sure that all of us have different political views, but we all respect each other because that it doesn't matter what our political standpoint is. And that's just us being men. But when it comes from a woman and a man, that is where things become different, because number one, men and women are different. And so women will take things more emotionally and will use, what they know, and they will throw it at you in an emotional way. When us as men want to try to talk about this in a logical standpoint, it creates conflict. It even creates conflict even without it being political when you do it that way. And so just adding politics into the mix, especially in politics in 2021, 2020, around this time, it's like you're in a war at that point. You put yourself into a war when you talk about politics nowadays, especially men and women talking about it together.
Yeah, especially when you combine ego with emotionalism, you can have a nasty recipe for disaster, right? Especially if you're sort of social distancing in your house with your girlfriend for a long time, or someone that you're seeing, and you have different political views, and it sort of gets in the house. Like, you're watching the news with your girlfriend every day, and then some conversations start
about it, politics.
Yeah,
right.
and then conversations start to arise, and you let some of your opinion go, right? And then she takes that and gets very emotional about it, and then it ends up badly for everybody. Like, there were literally things on Twitter that was just like the husband would put like a Trump sign in the front yard, and the wife would come in and like she would take a photo of herself like ripping it out of the ground and like stepping on it, and then she would hold up like a sign saying, "I'm divorcing him," like stuff like that. Like, it's crazy.
And it's real. That's real.
Real, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you have the emotional connection with a woman and she respects you, there's chances that they switch political parties, even religions. If you have that emotional connection with them,
Yeah, if there's actual genuine
you
desire.
just have to know how to say things.
There has to be desire in order for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say, like, if a relationship's not working out and a girl...
They might use whatever.
Someone dumps someone, they'll use politics as just an excuse. Like, the chances are they probably wanted to get rid of each other long before the politics came up. But it was just, like, kind of like that trigger, that excuse to make it happen. Yeah. And the thing they'll say is, oh, well, I didn't like his political views and his morality was not what I wanted. And it's like, well, you didn't know that when you first started.
Right, exactly.
What is it? Come on now. Like, and I've seen, like, that has happened, like, a lot, which is crazy. Because to let politics get in your household like that, I mean, it's just like what Mike said. When you respect someone's opinions, and it doesn't matter about what their political views are. I mean, you're still people, right? You should be respecting each other, right? You don't have to come at each other's throats because one person is voting for someone else. It's not really a big deal, at least in my view. I mean, I don't really care, right?
I guess it's easier to say to a man that, hey, listen, I don't like you because of your political party. I'm gonna divorce you, instead of saying I'm gonna divorce you because you're being a pussy. Because you can't really explain that to a dude. How am I being a pussy? What?
Yeah, you can't. But at least you could use that. Yeah, you could use a.
You can use political parties. Oh, that's why.
Oh well, damn.
You know. Oh, it's not because I was very submissive and very follower. Like, I don't know. Just being a pussy, you know?
Yeah, just being a bitch, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah,
they won't tell you that because it's hard to explain that to a guy.
Yeah, well, a lot of guys are not standing up for themselves anymore anyway. So, you know, you need to be always chasing, like, excellence in life. You always need to be pursuing your passions and your goals and not really too focused on, like, your dating life. I mean, sure, it's an important part, but you should never let it get in the way of, like, your goals in your life, right? Especially in today's world. Well, it's so easy to be constantly online looking at girls all the time on Instagram. You could easily get very unfocused from your purpose in life.
Because, people are going to come and go, and that's to every relationship, friends, family. Some people are going to come and go regardless. You're going to come and go one day too, But you can always have that mindset. Whatever goal it is, it have to be specific, but if you have that dream and you have that ambition and you're doing things, that always stays with you, and people can tell. I see people sometimes that they look dead, they have nothing going on, no dream. And those are the people that end up losing, most of the people around them because nobody wants to be around them. But if you have that mentality that always stays with you, that's what you have to invest in. That's why people say invest in yourself. That's the only thing you got until you die. So
yeah, you always need to be pursuing your goals and getting better at certain things and always be progressing. And a lot of guys, what they do is they let women get in the way of their dreams. Like, it's like the whole
out of fear.
Yeah, it's also like the whole, like, oh well, I really want to go to this college, but she wants to go to the other college, and I really want to stay with her, so I guess I'm just gonna go to her college instead, because I really want to keep the relationship alive. Like those kind of things, which do happen all the time. It's not, And guys need to, you need to look at what you really want in your life and who's going to be on that journey with you, who you're going to allow yourself to go into that with you. Because if you have a scarcity mindset, you're going to obsess over one person, and that person might not even necessarily be into you as you're into them. And it could affect you in a very negative way if you let it, if you let certain priorities get in the way of others, and it could really ruin your life, quite honestly.
Yeah. I even... Because even there was a time when I was just in college or whatever, and my significant other at the time had just graduated high school, going into college, and she wanted to go to this school, but me with the scarcity mindset, I didn't want her to go away to college. I wanted her to stay here, so I convinced her to stay home and go to a community college instead of going to the college that she wanted to go to. And granted, that was probably the worst mistake. Probably a terrible mistake. Horrible mistake. Probably shouldn't have done that. I should have just let her go, and I should have just broken up with her. Or, like, we should have separated at that point and just went on our separate ways. It probably would have been better for both of us in the long term. Even though how everything went, I still made it out in a positive way, regardless of how that shit went down. It's just in that example, like, you can't hold somebody back. You can't also let other people hold you back either. And it's a matter of...
What college was that?
Which college of what?
Yeah, all right. At least what state was that college in that she wanted to go?
Well, it was in this state, but it was up north.
Okay.
Far up north.
All right.
And so, yeah, so I, because then even in any type of example, right, you have to do what's right for you, and not, and it doesn't, and not just what's right for you. Make sure that when you say it's right for you, not just also because of another person. You got to make sure it is you and solely you. For me, when in that example, it was not solely for me. It was because I wanted to be with this person, and I had an attachment. Yeah, I had a huge ego investment into this.
But in the long run, it wasn't good for you or her.
Yeah, no, it was not gonna. It was not good for either of us, and like that's what some people need to learn, and that's what I learned.
I mean, life will teach you regardless.
Yeah.
I bet you learn.
Oh yeah, I learned.
I bet you learn.
You bet your ass I did.
But a lot of people don't take those lessons. At least you know. But people are like, oh, they don't really analyze why. But
because
somewhere you're gonna learn.
Yeah,
there's a lesson.
And you gotta do things. You gotta do things for yourself, because you gotta do things that make you happy, not for to make other people happy. Because you're only here for you. You are alive because you are alive. You're not alive because someone is saying that you're alive. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who thinks about what. You're alive today. You're breathing. You got to do something that makes you happy, because you need the motivation to continue. If you don't have the motivation to continue, then you're going to end up dying, right? That's just pretty much how this goes. You're going to get weak, and then you're going to die. And you need to make sure that you are in a great mindset. You need to make sure that you can excel in the things that you want to do. You want to make sure that you do the things that you love, because once you do the things that you love, then you have a great mindset, which then will lead you to a woman that, that just may stumble into your life that you just, either want to bang or whatever. And, you get that positive mentality. You got to make sure that you're there first, because I feel like once you're in a good place and a good mindset, then you won't have a lot of really bad situations go on with certain people. It's not even just with men and women, but with like networking relationships. Right. Like with like let's say Joe, you are an accountant at this really big company, and I'm a guy that wants to get into accounting, but I'm not in a good mindset, and so I stumble into a conversation with you, but you don't think that I'm good enough because of this specific reason. But if I am trying to push myself and I'm trying to do things that are good, and we have this conversation, and you're like, he has potential, I want to, maybe I should, do something, bring him on, then that's just an opportunity for me to get better. And
I understand what you're saying. Basically, you need to have that improvement mentality, self-control, so when the opportunities come, you're ready for it. Yeah. Because, whether or not, life is going to keep going, but basically, you're going to have good fruits or bad fruits regardless. Yeah. But you need to know how to plant the seeds, because if not, life is going to show you what you have, which is nothing. Yeah. So that's up to you.
That's why I say it's good to a cold approach in things that you like doing. Because if you really want to learn how to dance, which I use my example again, then you're already in a place that you're already putting yourself first. You're already doing something for your benefit. You're doing it for you. And if you so happen to meet a girl there that you may like, that's just a bonus, right? Girls are just a bonus of what makes a man. Is that if you're living your life the way you want, and you're focusing on your mission in life, and you're going through the motions, and then you meet a girl, and then boom. It just kind of happens out of nowhere. It's not all about some master plan. It's all about going through your life the way you want to live it. And whoever you run into along the way, you're networking, and you're also sourcing, because you never know what you're going to run into. Look at life through an opportunistic lens, and you'll never know what kind of good stuff will come to you.
Yeah, I feel like too, if you're living that positive mindset where you're always trying to progress and become successful, you're more likely to attract someone who's also on that track, right? That's right. And so, like, in a partner, I want someone who is goals driven and who wants to do things and has their own career. That's something I look forward to. Mm-hmm. And so if I know I'm striving for that, I'm more likely to run into someone who's doing that as well. So I don't know necessarily, like, if I would see it like, it could be seen as like a bonus in the sense of like, oh, if I find this person while I'm doing my thing, great. But I don't usually view like a woman or my significant other like as a bonus. I view it as like someone who's going to be my companion for us.
You want
to
to complement
strive.
to your life, right?
Part,
Someone who's
like,
gonna add value
Because
to
I
your
want
life.
her to be doing that as well. I don't want someone just
not a
waiting.
bonus, it's like
I don't
to
want
them,
yeah,
right?
and I want someone waiting for me to do
Right.
everything. Like I want them to be doing their own thing as well
Yeah.
because I think that makes us better as a set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like as long as you're both progressing at the same time,
Yeah.
doing things like that where you're doing your own thing, she's doing her own thing, but you guys are together, and there's that mutual like respect and that connection.
But you
and
also
the
can
desire.
lift each other up
Yeah.
when times
Yeah,
get
exactly.
difficult.
Yeah,
if he
exactly.
knows
I was
what
gonna
you're
say
going
that
through,
maybe it's not the same
Yeah.
level, but at least the same
Yeah.
mindset. Or like
Yeah,
the
and-
vision, the vision.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
strengths make up for the weaknesses.
Yeah, so when if she's down, you give her the hey,
Yeah.
you're doing good, lift her back up, and if you're starting to hit a bump, she can
Yeah.
always give you that, and
Some good head.
yeah, hopefully, and then you get back up, pun intended, and you just keep going. Sorry, Joe, I knew that was gonna get you.
yeah,
I knew that was gonna get you, but yeah, no, you gotta. As long as you're doing the thing, and you attract someone who's has a similar mindset, it has a similar way of thinking, then it's probably gonna work out better than one where that's not really the case.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what I gotta say about that.
Yeah, like positive reinforcement helps. The pro tip if you're
because they know what you're going through.
yeah,
You know.
if a girl's going through a rough time, what you can do is just give some positive reinforcement. Because if a girl's getting positive reinforcement through a guy she's really into, it's gonna really you're gonna amp her up. Like you're doing great, baby. You could do this. Like that's why when a girl's like giving birth, he's like, you got this. You give her that like woo, and then she's like, yo, boom.
I think that's because men feel very useless in that situation
Yeah.
because you literally can do nothing but just be there for your partner.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't actually influence anything happening.
Yeah, positive
all
reinforcement
you
can go a
do is
long
just
way.
have your hand get broken.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Positive reinforcement can go through a long way. I mean, that's why I say there's a old way of doing things, and now there's a new way in which we have to adapt to, which is sort of the internet age. Because I think people are still having a hard time adapting to this way, and I don't know if our brains are ready yet. Quite honestly.
So, based on this conversation, do you think that people, because there's a lot of people right now that are going, oh, I don't need nobody. I'm an independent person. I can go get it. What do you think? Those people are driven in a good way, or do you think that, what do you think is going on? Do you think it's positive, it's negative? Do we really need people, or should we just, I'm strong, man.
Well,
I don't need nobody.
Well, my first question is, are you still watching porn?
Me? You talking to me?
No,
or-
like in general. Nah,
Yes.
right after this,
question.
yeah. Of course, I gotta get out of here.
Of course.
It's like I mean, I think everyone wants to have sex, right? And everyone has a certain way of doing it. Everyone has some type of game. Everyone has their way of doing things. So if a person wants to be independent, and I mean, I think sometimes it's necessary to maybe take a break and focus on yourself, because some people really, they got to work on themselves, quite honestly.
Yeah.
If you're saying that you're depressed all the time and that you're worried about girls, I was like, bro, girls, you should not be worried about girls right now. You should worry about getting your mental health in check maybe a little bit before you start trying to share yourself with somebody else. Because if you're extremely negative and if you're a depressed person and you bring some girl into your life, you're gonna make her feel depressed too. You're gonna spread that negative.
You might just attract a depressive girl too, who's gonna give you more problems.
That's another perspective. That's also another possibility, right?
Help you sink even.
That's why you want to get yourself right first. If you think that you're independent and you don't need nobody, okay, we'll see how long that lasts. But I guess my first question is, why would that person want to be independent? Are you like when a girl says, I want to be a strong, independent girl? What you're saying is you just want to be independent from men. And my second question is, why? Like, are you working on yourself, or what are you doing during that time that you want to be focused, right?
Are you hurt?
Are you hurt, or are you using that time to improve yourself, or are you just wasting time watching Netflix every day, hoping that one day a girl's gonna approach me, which will not happen. You're not gonna get those choosing signals that you think you are. Right? Yeah. You have to take that action yourself.
It ain't a movie.
I think independence is important, right? So if you're in a relationship, independence is still very important. And I see this all the time, right? Where someone is in a relationship and they kind of lose who they are as an individual, and they become more of a set. And it is important to have time just to yourself, just with your friends, and away from your significant other.
That's why,
I would say,
that's a very good point.
I would say if you're single, independence is important, right? It is a part of knowing who you are and growing as a person and making sure you are in a positive place to even withstand being in the trials and tribulations of a relationship, because it's going to happen, right? There's peaks and valleys, and it's part of dating someone, right? But you can't be too independent if you're ultimately striving to meet someone and be with someone and set up a life with someone.
Right.
If you have such an independent mindset of pushing everyone away, that's not going to benefit your
There's
situation.
something going on there mentally, right?
Exactly, and then there's something that you're not working on
Some
yourself,
repressed anger
and,
going
and we
on.
need to talk about what's going on here. But some people also on the other side of the spectrum are completely happy with being independent and don't want to be in a relationship ever.
Yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's the lifestyle that you want to live, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has kind of their own individualistic perspective, right? I believe that everyone needs to live the way they want, not feel pressured to conform to anything. That's why like politics are so like crazy right now, because everyone's trying to get people to see things the way that they do. And everyone now, you can influence people and speak your mind and your opinion, and you can see who will listen, and you could also develop sub tribes. You can get people to join like you and your beliefs, and you can create like communities and groups and stuff like that. But to force what you want onto other people is not the best thing to do. For I'll use my own life, in a dating perspective. So like I was with a girl a few days ago, and she wanted to be like just me and her. So she asked me like if I was seeing other girls, and I was like, yes, I am, because I'm a very honest person. I don't like to lie to anyone, because I feel like if you lie to people, first of all, you're just lying to yourself. And lying, it's kind of, I don't want to be deceitful. Deceitful, yeah. So I kind of was like, yeah, I am. And then she got very upset about it, and she was kind of just like, well, I don't want to be like a casual thing. I was like, yeah, I completely understand. So I ended up letting her go, and I left. I didn't get extremely like butthurt. I didn't get emotionally angry.
But that's better for you guys both in the long run, right?
Right, because what's the point?
Yeah, because
Exactly.
you weren't looking for anything long term, and she is looking for that, right? So why waste each other's time?
Yeah. So what I could have done, what a lot of guys do, is they'll be like, well,
Sell her dream.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they'll probably lie and be like, oh, I'm not seeing anyone else, and then first of all, you're lying, and now you're just pretty much going down a dark hole. So, or you could just be like, you could just be honest.
In 3 months.
Yeah, 3 more months, I
Give me
promise.
3 more months.
Yeah, but it would be wrong for me to make her want to live a way that I did. So I could have, like, oh, it's okay, you can see other people too, but she would not be comfortable with that. So sometimes people just don't work out like that, and you have to make decisions, and you have to have the will to make powerful, strong decisions. As a man, it's just kind of the way life is. So instead of make the girl conform to what I wanted, I let her make her own decision, and I ended up leaving, and on good terms. Like there's no hate or anything,
And that also plays a part that I feel like you can do that because deep down you have that you have the ability to get other women. So you need to have that mentality that you can always rely on yourself. You're capable.
That's right.
If you don't have that ability where you're like, you're not confident in yourself enough that you can survive being single or getting another person, or dealing with a breakup, then you have to work on that as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, some people really have to work on themselves first, and you just cannot make people do what you want. You have to sort of let people be free and make their own decisions, and not try to enforce your own personal policies onto others, especially in a relationship, because that's going to cause a lot of problems long term, especially if you have kids with them and you're not on the same level. You're just creating a really big hole for yourself, and you don't want to go down that road. Don't make life complicated.
That could be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, one day. You don't want to. Men have this amazing ability to complicate our lives and then justify why we do it. We do it all the time. So you really need to be analytical these days. I mean, I know, like Joe and I, like we're very analytical about things. I mean, we all are. We're very like always looking at things in a very logical way and thinking, well, how is this going to benefit me, and how is this going to benefit others? Like, am I making the right decision? Well, we need to be very calculative these days and make very good decision for ourselves, because a lot of people make very bad decisions, and relationship is one of those things that people make some awfully terrible decisions because they don't think it through, or they're just really horny and they just who needs a condom anyway, right?
And that one mistake could change your life.
Exactly. So wear a condom, please.
That's funny you say that, because I remember when I was little, I would always ask in Spanish everything. It was like, why? why when I was little, why, and I still do the same thing for everything.
Yep.
There's no, you can always go deep into things. Just ask why are things going on, and that should give you some answers.
It's a very powerful question.
I think all these years I've known you, you've always been deep.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and just always
I don't
asking
know.
questions.
I like answers. You
Yeah.
know, I really like answers, and sometimes I don't get the answers, but I try my best to try to understand something.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's answers. Sometimes there's questions that you can't get an answer to.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's questions you can't get an answer to, and sometimes that can be hard too. But you need to just
You have to be comfortable with
you
that.
have to be you have to accept that there are questions that you might have that don't have an answer.
But why? Why do I have to be comfortable?
Because the thing is that
I'm joking.
there'll be an answer to it, but you might not ever get it.
Not the answer you want, or
No.
It's and maybe not even that. Like let's go for the example of life. What is the meaning of life? We don't know. There is no answer, right? We have to find that out for ourselves. And once we get to the point where we're on our deathbed, that's when we know what the meaning of life is, and it's already too late to do something about it, because then by that time you're gone. You know what I mean? You find out the meaning of life by experiencing life. But that's not always the answer, the right answer for everybody.
Right.
You gotta,
perspective, you know.
it's all based on that. Like that is the one answer I can say that, or the one question. What is the meaning of life? That not just only that it's different for everybody, but literally has no answer, because by the time you find out, it's already over.
I have an answer.
What? Say.
Life is what you think it is.
Of course.
Life is what you make of it.
Oh.
That's what we have to accept. That's the thing, is that we have to accept that that's the answer. But,
and
but
not
it
be
might not.
constantly,
But
making
we don't know.
excuses.
We don't know what we don't know if
What
that's
is
the answer.
thinking?
Here we go.
What I'm doing right now, because you're putting all these thoughts in my head. You have to be you have to really, think about what you want in your life, and who you want to spend your time with, and who you really want to let in your life. And especially when it comes to relationships, because you don't know, you really need to vet your significant other, make sure that they're very compatible, get to know their likes and dislikes, which is once again why I say meet people in places they like to do, because at least you have a common interest and you can sort of relate to that person. So I think the future is going to be very interesting, especially with how technology is developed and everything. I don't know what's going to come next, because every year now there seems to be something new.
We'll never know.
Destruction.
Like a couple of years ago, I would never think something like Onlyfans was going to be big as it is, and it is very big right now. Don't get me wrong. I mean, somebody all of us know probably subscribes to someone's Onlyfans. We won't even know it.
I didn't even thought about that.
It's crazy.
Now
Right?
you're gonna go home and think about
I'm
that,
who?
and then you're gonna ask
Why?
why.
Why do you do this?
Why are you doing that? Yeah. What are your predictions for the dating market coming forth in the future?
Well, as long as COVID is still around, the dating market itself is probably going to stay how it is. I feel like unless if something new comes along, let's say there's a new technology or something that might introduce itself into the dating market. That's probably the only way. That's the only way I see it right now, as of everything standing. That there's going to be any type of different direction the dating life can go. If us and ourselves, us sitting here at the table, could make an impact on men today, to change the way that they interact with women, and do things that could benefit them for themselves, that also could be a way. But that's if you guys watch and share. But yeah, I feel like as far as everything stands now, I feel like in the next year everything is probably going to stay the same, maybe even probably get worse. But yeah. I guess that's the way we can go.
What do you think's going to happen to get worse?
Well, it all depends on. I feel like it all again depends on the outside interference of the dating market, like COVID, having to stay inside. People's social anxieties, their people's inability to interact with humans.
Do you think that
on the outside?
Do you think that the more when people get vaccinated more, do you think that more people start coming out?
Like I said earlier, with the in correlation between the two pandemics from 1918 and this one, it might take a while. It might not happen immediately. And I'm predicting that it's going to take a couple years, maybe 3, maybe 3 at the most. It might take to get us not even to where we were before this, maybe even farther. It all really, I guess, depends on time and on the technology and on science, especially with vaccinations and stuff, because we got to make sure that the vaccine that we have now is actually going to work and is not going to kill us, and or whatever. So we got to make sure that whatever we're getting and all the technologies and everything else like that will, number one, just only not just benefit us, but like will make things easier, not even just easier, just make things work better, for us in the dating market, I guess. And so.
Yeah, I think that the more people get vaccinated, I think that people are gonna, I mean, isn't the plan to get like a herd immunity or something?
Well, yeah, to a point. Well, they said that like herd immunity, it was going to take a long time, but
it's the idea that so many people get vaccinated that it protects the ones that are not vaccinated.
Yeah,
it's the idea.
Possible, but it's up for debate because it can go either way. I kind of like to remain hopeful and just think that
I want to. I want to remain hopeful.
Yeah, Joe, what do you think is going to happen in the dating market in the coming months or years or whatever?
It's gonna crash.
Just like the stock
Like,
market.
The stock market's gonna crash.
Economics, man. There's no supply. There's a lot of demand. It's gonna crash somehow. But I feel like the real hustlers out there, they're gonna find a way to get that supply. So you just have to work as hard as you can, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because I think, to be honest, that there's gonna be hookups, yes. That there's gonna be relationships, yes. But are they gonna be healthy? I don't know about that.
Yeah, now that's
a lot of people are losing their real values of of what makes happiness happen. So yeah, there's gonna be dates and whatever, but I don't think there's gonna be true values of what's really important.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting kind of wave coming ahead. But what do you think is gonna happen in the next months or years?
I think at least for the next 6 months to a year, it will be very virtual. I think we're going to continue down that path of people meeting on dating apps and maybe FaceTiming or connecting through the app itself.
You think less people are going to meet up?
Yeah.
Still say the same?
I think so. And I think until we're back to a norm, which honestly could be probably a couple of years from now, where we're having large, events like concerts and sporting events and stuff like that, I think it's going to take things in that size to make people comfortable, especially when it comes towards something like dating. Because, with everything going on, at the end of the day, dating is a part of life, but these days it's not the most important part of life, in my opinion.
Yeah, things are really.
And so,
right
about staying healthy and living and having a job and all those things are more important. So I expect things to stay virtual, and then only when people actually feel comfortable and have a genuine connection, that's when you're going to get people that are okay enough to meet in person. I don't think it's going to be on a volume. It's going to be very quality, not quantity kind of situation.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I pretty much agree with that. Like a lot of people, things are gonna, like, dating apps are gonna get even more popular. I think more dating app accounts are being made every single day, and it's gonna only increase. And I think, unfortunately, people are going to get even less confident to go and meet people outside because of all this stuff.
Could be.
And because I think a lot of people they're going to adapt to these dating apps it could be in a very negative way.
Right.
But I think certain people are going to be like, they're going to have enough with it, but it's going to be a small percent, not a large percent.
I wouldn't be surprised that, we see Zoom, right, is very popular now. Don't be surprised if it's not already done, that it will be done, that instead of speed dating at a bar, like we've seen before, they're speed dating through Zoom. Don't be surprised if that's a thing.
Now that's a prediction. I must have to invest in that.
Yeah, right.
I definitely think that a lot of people.
When you talk about dating specific, are you talking about relationship dating, or are you talking about is there gonna be more or less sex, or like what are you talking about?
Well, I sort of kind of generalized it, but you think, all right, let's go there.
Yeah.
Do you think more people are gonna be having sex?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Mike, do you think more people are going to be having sex?
I think the people who know what they're doing are going to be having the most sex. If let's say, for example,
how many people?
So
the answer is no.
The people, yeah.
Yeah.
The minimal amount of people that know how to approach women with women that are not afraid to go out in the specific time that
The most confident guys are gonna.
Yeah,
So you're saying that masters are gonna get laid and the students
might.
what?
They
might not.
So that's enough.
Or the people who are in like specific relationships where their significant other has enough genuine desire to want to keep fucking them forever and ever, unlimited amount of times. That's pretty much that's pretty much where I'm going.
All right. Do you think more people are gonna have sex?
And we're talking about the new generations coming up.
During this pandemic,
like as of right now, do you think people are gonna have sex more after today, or it's gonna go even a little bit lower?
it'll probably be about the same, which has been less. It's been trending less.
It has. You are right about that.
That's
though,
the
yeah.
pattern.
Just the opportunities that were once there, especially for hookups, they're just not there anymore. And so that when you have less of a pool to pick from, it is just logically going to be less.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to take a certain
Scarcity
step.
boys.
Scarcity mindset. Everyone needs to be able to decide for themselves what method works best for them. As I said, everyone has their individual freedom, and you need to be able to make the choice that works best for you. If you want to go out and work on your social skills, I think you still can in a smaller paradigm, but you can still be done. You can still do things. You need, as I said, you need to look at things from an opportunistic spectrum. So what can I do to sort of make the best out of this day? How do I really do I need to work on myself? Maybe I'm not ready to go dating right now. Maybe I need to take this time and work on myself and sort of take a break, like take a break from dating apps, or take a break from like. I don't think you should really take a break from people. I think people are doing that enough. I think people need to go out and still talk to people more. At least minimum FaceTime calling would help, because use this new way of technology, use it to your advantage. So that's why like a lot of FaceTime is going on right now. So at least maintain contact with your friends, family, girls, whatever it is, maybe. At least don't lose the human spirit, because that's one of the main things that keeps us alive and fighting. Is that we have each other, right? And that we're a species of collectivism. We're like a species of tribes, and we're always communicating, and we're always looking at how to solve problems, right? But if you isolate yourself, it'll be a lot harder to do that, and dating is part of that reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we all want the same thing, from a humanistic perspective,
Yeah. Exactly.
We want to associate, survive, and bang. Like, that's pretty much like what it comes down to.
Never forget that.
Words of wisdom,
Yeah,
2021, the new quote of the year.
In all Gates' quote, all you can do is just don't die.
Yeah. The number one rule of life, I would say, is don't die. As long as you're doing that, then you're already winning. You're a winner. Okay, you're the one sperm that made it. Okay, out of the millions of sperm that was trying to enter that way, you made it. Okay, so feel special. My little
Way to look at it.
My little butterflies.
Optimism.
Optimism with Andrew. So on that note, we are going to end this podcast. It has been a thrill to have our brothers from another mother's side. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
We'll have to see if we're gonna have to do this again next year.
Yeah, maybe next year.
I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one.
We will make it. All right, guys.
Yeah.
We'll make it.
We're gonna do it. So we will see you guys on the next video. And with that said, good night.
Have a good one, guys.
With you.